crapshoot. Like, is what you want to do, major in, going to be valued in 4 years? I don't know. The world is changing very rapidly. There's a whole bunch of people who came out as coders because coders was the safest possible employment. It turns out, well, probably nursing is the safest possible component, but or career. It's not true now because AI is going to be handling a lot of the coding, certainly the general coding, and so it's hard to know about that. But my guess is that, my guess would be that I think that from an AI standpoint, there's a lot of solutions there. There is a lot of fear there, and the fear is what's driving the discussion predominantly on data centers, because data centers are essentially becoming analogous, to AI.
Do you think that the moratorium, for lack of a better word, is kind of like political virtue signaling, because they just to seem like, okay, even though it's not really necessary, they could say yes or no to any data center planning or any pitch that they get, but just to say, hey, look, we hear you, and with all the backlash because of the people who sit at the heads of most of these companies and the data center kind of hysteria right now, it's just to say, hey, we're doing something. Yeah, I mean,
I've got to say that I'm not necessarily opposed to virtue signaling.
Right.
I mean, I'm not. It
sends a message to the companies that want to do business here, improve the odds in our favor a little bit.
Well, and what it does is tells your constituents that you've heard them, in this particular case. I mean, if the people are unhappy about this and the mayor decides that there is really no downside to not having a moratorium or having a moratorium, well, I mean, whatever's going to make more people happy, you do that. That's an easy base hit from a mayoral standpoint. You can go ahead and do that. It's probably not going to affect any of these projects. By having a moratorium, that's a moratorium on approval. It doesn't mean a moratorium on people putting in plans.
Yeah, most of these are at least a year out, if not more.
At least a year out. So, key point. Yeah. And so this moratorium may not even affect any of these. However, the city also has in its back pocket an ability to block these things. So it's not. I think that virtue signaling sometimes gets this bad rap. The same way the term
it's hollow.
The same way the term political correctness does. Like there's sometimes we've eliminated a lot of language, I think, that probably is good. That people were calling as just being politically correct. Well, that's okay. I don't mind that so much. I mean, I know there's other things. I know everything can go too far, but the virtue signaling, I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I mean, that if you need to communicate to your constituency that you're listening, that's not such a bad thing to do.
Doesn't cost you anything.
Doesn't cost you anything.
It's funny, this AI story and these data center stories are not real. They're not just abstract for me, because I've got a family member, I've got a couple of family members that are going both directions of this conversation. My son-in-law, who went back to school after graduating with a degree, and he worked in medical records. He was a manager in medical records, had a degree. He went back to learn coding. And he just graduated in coding. He's now in his second coding job after getting his second degree, and now his coding futures is up in the air.
Right.
And now he's got to think about going back to school again to learn another profession. I'm going to recommend nursing. That was a great tip. It's a hands-on occupation. You can't replace it.
You can't replace that one.
At least not at this stage.
Yeah, no, and that's what also as the hospital industry gets more and more consolidated, they're hiring fewer doctors, but they're hiring many more nurse practitioners. And many more nurses, because they're trying to go on the income scale.
Well, people are living longer than ever.
Yeah.
There's always going to be need for healthcare. It's a great industry to get into. My sister is one of the leading HR directors in the nation. She's worked for everybody from, major banks, household name type companies. She's been the head of HR. She just went to work for Meta.
Yeah.
This month, had to relocate across the country, move down to California to work for Meta. And she's not there to let people go. To your point, she's there to bring people on. She works for the AI division at Meta.
Right.
And people don't realize that, but you're right. They're bringing on more people than they're letting go.
In some cases. I mean, I don't know the specific Meta numbers, but I do know for some
I can tell you, but I'd probably get her fired, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
Microsoft, for example, had a tremendous hundreds of jobs posted when it was also laying people off in certain areas. And they're also finding that AI, which was expected to do really well on sort of the word end of the business, the marketing end of the business, the customer service end of the business, is not really all that good at it. It's actually turns out it's better at the coding end of the business than it really is at the customer service end of the business. So we'll see how far that advances. But I do feel like it's very difficult to separate out the data center discussion without it being some sort of a very fear-based AI. And I'm not suggesting that people's worries about AI are not legit. I think they are legit. But I do think that thinking that any resistance at this point is going to change the trajectory is probably wrong. So it's best to learn as much about it as you can and understand that it's not coming. It's here.
Yeah,
and it's been here. and it's going to be here in every if you are carrying a phone, you're using AI. There's no way around it anymore. You cannot do a Google search without that being incorporated.
One of the scariest things I've heard, I hear it all the time, is that what we see today in the form of AI is the worst form we'll ever see. It's getting better so quickly, exponentially fast. I mean, a year ago you could see a fake video from AI, and you knew it was fake. Nowadays, you talk about imaging and making AI videos, how false videos, deep fakes they call them.
Yeah.
They're impossible to detect even today, and by next year, forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, who can detect AI videos?
Who?
Easily?
AI?
Seriously. We could watermark all of those if we ever passed legislation to do so. Maybe that's what we should focus on. Not trying to eliminate it, but trying to differentiate
regulate it
so we know.
Yeah,
that'd be a simple path. All right. Speaking of the non-simple path, and probably the not very clear path, Nate, at the real-time traffic desk, what's it looking like early in the commute?
It is really rough here in Seattle, Mike. D.R. Horton has the update. So we've got this collision in South Seattle. It's northbound on East Marginal Way, right at 1st Avenue South near the Jack in the Box there. It's blocking most of that intersection. In fact, East Marginal Way has just been shut down at the intersection. Northbound 99, you're backed up to the south end of the 1st Avenue South Bridge. Southbound 99 is backed up all the way into Soto now. Michigan Street is almost backed up onto I-5. You're going to need to avoid Georgetown this afternoon for a while if you can. I know that's tough to do because it's one of the busiest commute areas during drive times. We're up to 45 minutes to get through downtown Seattle on North 5. Pretty solid now between the Michigan Curve and Ship Canal. Bellevue to Renton a half hour in Seattle to Federal Way already struggling at 40 minutes. Looking for the best deal on a new home? Discover the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. Visit drhorton.com and schedule a tour today. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO Newsradio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
Jason Rance here with Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. Greg, there are a ton of national advertisers offering services similar to yours. Why shouldn't I go with one of them?
National firms are an interesting phenomena, if you will, because I hear from clients that tried them initially, and they tell me these stories that are just really hard to believe, Jason. They'll call, and the person that they're talking to is really a salesperson. They don't really know the tax resolution business at all. They're trying to make a sale. And so they overpromise, and they'll hook them with a very low initial fee. Then when that case starts moving down the road, all of a sudden the person's getting a phone call. Oh, you need to pay us thousands of dollars to get this thing done. And they tell me sometimes it never gets done.
So it's a tax resolution scheme without any of the resolution.
I really believe part of it is.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, call Greg Nunn with None Better Tax Resolution. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you, gradual breakers. You keep your eyes on the road, so you've seen it all. As long as it all happened directly in front of you, like a Swedish masseuse, your foot knows exactly the right amount of pressure to apply to the brake. That's why your passengers feel totally relaxed with you behind the wheel and occasionally super sleepy. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all three like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
Olympic Hot Tub has terrific ways to achieve total wellness at home. Saltwater hot tubs, swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges, all waiting for you. See our current specials with exciting savings at olympichottub.com. Better you, better life.
Nick, you know what my dad always used to say?
Oh, which thing? Let me guess. If you put anything on a hot dog besides mustard, it's un-American?
Okay, that's true. Okay, but no, about the word worry. Remember he used to say about the word worry?
Yes, that it's not a verb, but it actually is.
I know it's a verb, but Nick, his point was nothing comes from worrying. You can sit here and worry about all the news and all about the chaos in the world. You worry about your health, but nothing comes of it. You have to take action.
Right.
Like, for instance, you and I, we go into Longevity Medical Clinic. That's an action. It's about taking that action. Like, people can go to Longevity Medical Clinic to get the free health analysis, and then they can find out how they're aging and the things they can do in order to slow down the process to have a big, full, rich life so you can enjoy a hot dog with whatever you want on it.
And now worry is a verb.
See, there you go. So it all starts for you taking action. I was a patient at Longevity long before I started doing these commercials. So get your free health analysis. Go to lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Digging in my yard, trying to lay a pipe. I hit a water line and now I have to pay a big fine. I should have called 811.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Seattle's mayor is not backing down on her decision to keep those surveillance cameras off in the stadium districts during the World Cup, unless there's a credible threat. KIRO News Radio's Corbin Hank reports she addressed that debate at a City Club event last night.
Mayor Katie Wilson says an expansion of surveillance cameras represents a threat to civil liberties.
Serious concerns brought to us by immigrants' rights groups, by civil liberties groups, right, around our data security sharing practices, the fear that this data could be misused.
But members of the City Council say a delay in activating those cams subverts public safety measures the Council has already passed.
I think the mayor is subverting the will of City Council. It makes us more vulnerable.
Councilmember Rob Saka, KIRO TV reports, with the cameras inactive, Seattle would be this year's only World Cup host city without them. Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Seattle has reached a $2.6 million settlement with 4 female police officers over harassment and discrimination claims. Seattle attorney Sumir Singla represents those 4 women who filed this suit back in 2024. He spoke with John Curley this past March.
Some of the higher-ups changed, but the people who were still involved and discriminating and retaliating against our clients are still there. So they, from time to time, still face it.
In a statement, the city attorney's office says in parts the settlement does not reflect an admission of wrongdoing or unlawful conduct by any of the named individuals. Gas prices have gone up and back down this week. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says it's hard to say where the market is headed with the Strait of Hormuz still closed.
And it's just been 94 days of frustration watching this really kind of slow motion degradation of the economy.
Average prices for a gallon are down 2 cents overnight to $5.65 statewide, but closer to $6 in the greater Seattle area. Meantime, gas thieves have sidelined a critical rescue tool. Homeward Pet Adoption Center in Woodinville says thieves cut the fuel tank on its transport van.
They didn't get much fuel out of it, but they've cost thousands of dollars of damage. And more importantly, we haven't got our van, so we can't do our critical work.
That is Executive Director Stuart Earley tells KIRO 7 TV they cannot move animals for urgent care until the van is fixed. Now to the real-time traffic desk. Here's Nate Connors.
All right, Aaron, we've got a mess down in Georgetown. The good news is it looks like our collision has just cleared northbound on East Marginal Way at the intersection of 1st Avenue South there near the Jack in the Box, but we have colossal backups throughout Georgetown. A couple of our bigger ones, southbound 99, you're bumper to bumper approaching the West Seattle Bridge, and Michigan Street, you're backed up almost to I-5. Here on the main line, heading into Seattle from the south end, it's a 45-minute trip through downtown. Pretty solid between the Michigan Curve and Ship Canal Bridge now. South 5, we're slow from Northgate to I-90. Bellevue to Renton's a half-hour trip this afternoon. It's real heavy through Bellevue. Down in Tacoma, South 5, just past the Puyallup River Bridge, right in front of the Emerald Queen Casino there. A crash blocks 2 left lanes. And Tacoma to Olympia, we just hit 1 hour. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
To your forecast now, seeing some sun breaks this afternoon, more clouds tomorrow with rain on the way and thunderstorms possible for Saturday. Right now, 64 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This hour of the John Curley Show brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance.
Welcome to the John Curley Show. Mike Lewis here, Spike O'Neill. The White House, if you have not heard, is going to be hosting a giant UFC event. Dana White, the CEO of MMA Promotion, is betting that this unprecedented spectacle, this is from the Hollywood Reporter, or also referred to as the most audacious media spectacle in recent memory, is going to deliver fans to the sports and millions of eyeballs to, of course, to Paramount Plus. The president, apparently this idea was hatched when President Trump won the election. He was talking with Dana White afterwards and made the suggestion we should do a fight at the White House. And turns out that they were thinking the South Lawn, and they're building this fairly sizable infrastructure to host the event. And it looks like they're pulling in a lot of dignitaries, so to speak, who are going to attend, like Mr. White himself and the and a variety of other folks. So what do you think about the White House hosting a UFC event?
This is where I have to make a full disclaimer. I've got Trump derangement syndrome. There's not much this president does that pleases me with regard to policy or priority or even appearance. I think we're about, 4 wheels short of the White House being a mobile home at this point. I think putting a cage match UFC, I'm not a big fan of UFC fighting, and for folks who like it and love it, good on you. I'm not casting judgment on you. There's a time and place for it. The White House lawn to celebrate America's 250th birthday doesn't seem appropriate to me. Maybe it's my TDS. Maybe this moment in American history is no way better reflected than 2 guys beating the living crap out of each other on the White House lawn. Maybe that's exactly indicative of where we are as a country. Maybe this is the perfect representation, and I'm the dinosaur that should be in the Smithsonian down the street. Let's move our attention to the reflecting pool. I mean, I cannot begin to tell you how much this 250th birthday of America to fall during the administration of Trump 2.0 it just seems like a tragedy to me.
Yeah.
When you start projecting the 250 neon logos on the Washington Monument, if that doesn't ring of tacky, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I feel like I'm not sure that I remember the bicentennial. You remember the bicentennial as well.
Remember this? What is that?
Coin?
Yeah, but take a look at it.
Was it a bicentennial coin?
It's a bicentennial quarter. I've had it in my pocket every day for, I don't know, not quite 50 years, but I've had this for 50 years.
Right.
I was 13 at the bicentennial.
Right.
America's celebration of its 200th birthday was everything you could possibly hope or want it to be, lived up to and exceeded expectation. We're going to fall far short, I think.
Yeah, it is. I'm not looking forward to it necessarily. I don't know about the UFC fight. I would imagine that given the UFC crowd, that it's not going to suffer a whole lot of political backlash for doing something like this, for partnering up with the president on that. I think that Dana White has always been close to President Trump. I mean, they were close well before there was an idea of President Trump. So, and I don't know. I guess if I had to pick to rank the things that I've found, offensive by any administration. But let's just use this one since this is the one in power right now. This one doesn't bother me all that much. I mean, I think it's kind of a silly way to celebrate. I mean, there's a whole bunch about America that is justifiably we should be proud of. I don't know that UFC, but if you want to add, I don't know also that the halftime show at the Super Bowl is always something that I'm excited about to see either. I think it's fine that they want to have a UFC event. I don't really care one way or the other. If they had some other event of entertainment, which is, remember, UFC, like theater, opera.
That's a great example.
It's just entertainment. So,
and it truly represents a segment of America. I was very malicious and dismissive of my interpretation of this element of the American audience, the American citizenry. If this celebration had fallen during the President Obama administration, probably, I imagine they'd be performing a few scenes from Hamilton on the White House lawn to celebrate. It's just a different stripe of American life.
Yeah,
I need to be more understanding that that's what that is.
For better or worse, President Trump has moved the outrage bar considerably, right? And so this thing, them doing the UFC fight, I'm fine with it. Given if I could pick and choose what I would have this administration do, the UFC having a UFC fight, I'd be like, I'll trade you. I'll trade you that for I could name 9 other things in a second that I would trade you for. So,
but we don't get any of them. That's the problem.
Well, no, we don't get any of them. That's entirely true. But I would say that I am not in a position. I'm not so reflexively outraged that I find the UFC fight necessarily to matter to me one way or another at all.
That's fair, and I overreact to a lot of things. But I think it's funny. This is indicative of a much larger problem. Like scraping the White House East Wing, without going through proper channels, without proper reverence for what it's supposed to be in the processes for which that is America's house and America's capital city. And there are historical ramifications to whatever President Trump tries to do. Again, and dropping a cage match on the White House lawn. This administration doesn't care for not just norms or protocol, but rules, regulations, and laws.
Right.
They do whatever they want to do willy-nilly. They have no respect whatsoever for what's come before them and what the law requires that they do.
So I personally am a UFC fan. I love MMA. I'm not a huge fan of Dana White necessarily, but I do love the sport. And the particular fight card that is occurring next Saturday, or I think, is it Saturday or Sunday? On the 14th, I think, is a really good one. The odd part about it is where it's taking place, and it's also an outdoor fight. The conditions are not optimal. I think even Dana White said at one point, if we have lightning, then we have to cancel or postpone the whole thing.
And also, if you have high humidity, you lose your grip on the mat.
Yeah.
I mean, it is weird to have them outside.
Right? Yeah, they want a controlled environment with air conditioning. They've got the bug problems too.
They essentially want it to be the same environment everywhere they have it, everywhere in the country. Right?
Here's where it could get weird, and I don't know. This to me sounds a little bit like just Trump trolling. But here's what he said about the light rig that they've installed that goes above that just holds all the lighting for the
cameras
Octagon.
and things like that. Right?
Yeah, they call it the Claw. And here's what he said about the Claw a day or two ago.
Don't know that in Paris, France, the Eiffel Tower, 1889, it was built. It was supposed to be taken down immediately after the World's Fair, and then they said, we sort of like it. Let's leave it up a little bit longer. And then they said, let's leave it up longer and longer and longer. Well, they never took it down. And, we're building something in front of the White House that's quite attractive to a lot of people. It's going to have the big UFC fight on June 14th. And I'm looking at it, and maybe we'll never, ever take it down.
You're right.
He's just hitting around.
He's trolling. He knows it works on me. Yeah. He listens. He knows.
He's got
me. He's got me right where he wants me. Yeah. I mentioned the reflecting pool, right? For the president to just arbitrarily not go through proper channels of historical preservation or the White House approval of all the different things that are required, to go in and paint the bottom of the reflecting pool a beautiful American flag blue to make it look like a swimming pool because he thought it was ugly. It has no respect or reverence or even understanding of what the reflecting pool is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a dark body of water so that you can reflect at one end, standing at the Lincoln Memorial, and look at the Washington, vice versa. Stand at the Washington, look at the Lincoln, and have it reflect. I've seen people say that once this thing is painted to look like a swimming pool, it's not going to serve its intended design purposes for reverence to Americans to reflect on what it's taken to get us where we are.
Yeah, I get that. I get that as well, and I wish that they would just get on with the work and fix it. Right? It's not a horribly given what we spend money on. It's not a horribly expensive thing, and it would be nice to just get it done. It should have been done, 3 administrations ago. Honestly, this decay is long.
Well, upgrade and maintenance of our facilities.
Exactly.
They're fixing fountains before the 250th. I get all that. There's great upside to all that, but just making it Trump Town.
Yeah.
From front to back, top to bottom, again, no respect for what's come before.
Nate?
Yes.
How do you feel about what's your respect level for the traffic commute situation out there right now?
Those who have come before.
Yeah. Well, the commuters that have come before.
Yeah, it's a tough go out there, man, especially in South Seattle. As I'd mentioned last report, we're seeing progress down there at the First Avenue South Bridge where we had a collision on East Marginal Way heading north right at the First Avenue South intersection there, Jack in the Box. But it was there for about 40 minutes, so it's left us with some really epic backups. Here are a couple of the bigger ones. Southbound 99, still bumper to bumper approaching the West Seattle Bridge there in Soto down to First Ave, and then the Michigan Street itself, you're backed up almost coming off of I-5. Southbound 509 99 isn't too bad. You're going to jam up at the south end of the First Avenue South Bridge, and then you're in the clear pretty much once you get through that First Avenue South intersection. I know there's a lot going on there because there is a lot happening down in Georgetown right now. Avoid that area if you can. That's the bottom line. 45 minutes to get through downtown on North 5. It is solid from the Michigan Curve to the Ship Canal. Seattle to Everett, 55 minutes. You're slow from Northgate through Linwood. Bellevue to Everett, an hour 5. You're starting to slow from I-90 all the way up to that Alderwood interchange. Hardly any breaks here. And in Tacoma, South 5, just past the Puyallup River Bridge, our crash now blocks 3 left lanes. That includes the HOV lane, and your backup starts at State Route 18. Looking for the best deal on a new home? Discover the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. Visit drhorton.com and schedule a tour today. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
You know how some parts of the house don't work? Let me explain. There's that closet that you've got that when you open it up, everything falls out. Or you try to find something, you can't because it's not working. There's too much stuff in there. Then how about the garage? I know some people that can't park their car in the garage because there's everything else parked in the garage. You see what I'm saying? There might be some other parts of the house where it's just packed and there's no place to store anything. So maybe you've even gone to renting one of those storage units. Well, that adds up every single month. You can't even remember what's in there. So a better investment to get parts of those house working would be Closets by Design. The consultant comes to your house, They look at the problem. They know that each one of these problems that need to be solved have to be customized. But you don't get a big customized price. You're going to get 40% off plus an additional 15% off in 18 months, 0% financing on approved credit when paid in full. I really became a believer in Closets by Design when they came out to the barn in Cle Elum. You should see the work that they did. My goodness. 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's 1-800-BY-DESIGN. That's closetsbydesign.com.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Free your team from time-consuming procurement tasks. Discover smart business buying where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rantz here again with Greg Nunn from Nunn Better Tax Resolution. Greg, there are some folks getting CP 504 notices. This is not something that should be ignored. You need a professional.
When you receive a CP 504 notice, alarm bells need to go off. And as much as you just want to push that envelope aside because they know it's not going to be good, and it's not a very good notice to get because it means the IRS is really coming down on you hard. Get help right away. Call somebody that knows what they're doing and get some assistance.
How have you helped?
We help them by understanding exactly where they're at. We interview them, we talk with them, find out. We'd like to know, how did you get here? And then we make a plan whereby we do our level best to help people with this struggle they are having now with their taxes.
Judgment-free.
Judgment-free.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, call Greg Nunn with Nunn Better Tax Resolution. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. Nunn Better Tax Resolution.
Running a small business means juggling a lot. Your network has to handle it all. That's where a fiber-only provider falls short. You deserve a partner who gives you a greater advantage. Introducing the Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A first-ever combination of the largest, fastest fiber-powered network, the most reliable Wi-Fi, gig speeds with equipment and security included, and a 5-year price lock. Plus, it's all backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. The Total Solutions Advantage only from Comcast Business. A new standard for small business with reliability, security, and savings in one. When you add it all up, no one does business like Comcast Business.
Switch today. Get started for $60 a month for 12 months when you add an advanced solution to a qualifying internet package. Limited time offer. New customers only. Requires 300 megabits per second internet, security edge, and additional qualifying service. 1-year agreement, paperless billing, and autopay with bank account required. Taxes and fees extra. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025.
Your VA loan and reverse mortgage experts for 34 years. Best Mortgage is proud to be the longest-running mortgage company on KIRO Radio. Get a no-pressure consultation from a real person, never an AI bot. Web search Best Mortgage for honest advice you can trust.
Advanced Hair Restoration, the simple one-day hair loss solution that's guaranteed to regrow your own natural hair. AdvancedHair.com. AdvancedHair.com.
Welcome back to the John Curley Show. Mike Lewis, Spike O'Neill here. Meta, this is going to come as a shock to, I think, a lot of people. Certainly our listeners, probably you as well, Spike. Although you're cynical enough, maybe nothing shocks you anymore.
Okay, thank you.
The Meta has quietly added facial recognition software to its Meta glasses. I cannot believe someone as upstanding as Mark Zuckerberg would sneak in code while saying the company was still thinking about it and actually putting it in there so people could. So what would happen to you if you were wearing these glasses, not even if you were wearing these glasses, if someone else was wearing these glasses and looking at you, is that it would be able to process your, one would assume, this is the where it's headed, it will be able to process your information and then tell the person on a screen that they can see, like who it is that they're looking at. So if you're walking down the street and this would not be people that are in your contact list necessarily. These are any people who have a searchable database face, which is every person, it would be able, and if that can be linked to then a positive ID. Now, it's obviously has an error rate. I don't know what the error rate is. But the fact is that they have decided to just add surveillance technology. And remember, Meta doesn't have rights to prevent this data from either being hacked or being subpoenaed. There is nothing that prevents law enforcement from going to that. If you don't want your information shared, Meta doesn't care.
And this has been quietly embedded into upgrades?
Yeah, I mean, so Meta's an unusual company in that most of what it's done successfully are ideas that it purchased, not ideas it came up with.
Right.
From Instagram when it bought that, from WhatsApp when it bought that, from Facebook when it stole that. Like it is not a company that's terribly innovative.
The VR headsets,
the VR, which that's gone away. The metaverse is, after billions of dollars is gone, and a whole bunch of people laid off. But weirdly enough, one thing that Meta did kind of well from a product standpoint was the glasses, because the glasses are actually they're limited functionality. They didn't try to do what Apple was trying to do with its goggles. It was a very discreet, sort of narrowly focused set of glasses that provided additional meta information on whatever it was you were looking at. But they withheld and it could record pictures.
Sure.
It could take photos.
You're wearing your phone, basically.
Essentially. And it was supposed to, although this was easily defeated both from code and from a piece of black tape, it was supposed to let people around it know it was active with a little red LED, which is like, people nail polish over that thing, and then you don't even
blank it out.
Because weirdly enough, Meta also produced glasses that you would actually want to wear. They didn't look like the Google Glass, which were,
They partnered with Ray-Ban and Oakley and a bunch of others.
And they made actually decent-looking glasses that had this technology embedded in it.
So let me ask you this. You might not know.
And now it's expanding what it can do.
So if I've got this app on my phone, right, it says this is embedded in an app on your phone. Does that just work for AI glasses? I ask you this. If I've got a phone and I've got this app on my phone for Meta, for Facebook, whatever it is, it knows my face because I look at the thing 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
It knows everywhere I go and everything I look at on the internet 24/7. If someone looks at me with their AI glasses, their Meta glasses on, they don't just know who I am. At this point, they know everything I've looked at, everything I've searched.
So I don't know that it actually that it's going to be searchable on what you've done on your phone. It's certainly going to be searchable for identifying you, but if you want to walk around town and not have everyone know exactly what your name is, and remember, this is the kind of stuff that leads to stalking. It leads to all kinds of other things because it's going to allow people who have bad ideas to really implement their bad ideas much more easily.
Well, criminals are always a step ahead of law enforcement.
When they do something like this. I think this is, again, one of those areas where the government might think about some form of technology regulation, but we just seem to walk up to the altar but never get married to it.
Well, plus when the big owners are the guests of the inauguration, they're not getting a lot of regulation going their way. They're getting a lot of go right aheads going their way.
Exactly. Speaking of go right aheads, Nate Connors.
Yes, sir.
Are we going right ahead, or are we just sitting still?
Well, a little of both, actually. We're sitting still down in South Seattle, the Georgetown area. We are dealing with big backups on most surface streets right now from an earlier closure near the First Avenue South Bridge. We cleared that collision about a half hour ago, so we're seeing a slight improvement, but you'll want to avoid this area for quite a while as traffic is just barely moving. In fact, one of the biggest backups is Michigan Street. It's bumper to bumper from I-5 all the way down to the East Marginal. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett are both right around 1 hour commutes. Bellevue to Renton is going to take you 40 minutes. You're bumper to bumper from 520 to Cold Creek Parkway. North 405, bumper to bumper from South Center through the Renton S-curves. South Center to Bellevue, a 35-minute drive. And in Tacoma, South 5, just past the Puyallup River Bridge, a crash takes up 2 left lanes, including the HOV lane. We're now bumper to bumper from South 320th. Federal Way to Tacoma is up to a 45-minute commute. That's about a half-hour delay. KIRO Newsradio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Healthcare costs are rising, and a major driver is hospital prices. They've increased more than 250% over the past 25 years. Families and local businesses are feeling it. At Primera Blue Cross, we're working to change that by negotiating with hospitals to secure fair, responsible prices so you can get the care you need at a cost you can afford. That's coverage that counts. Learn more at couragethatcounts.primera.com.
You've worked hard, saved diligently, and now retirement is on the horizon. But will your nest egg go the distance? With rising costs and uncertain markets, there's no time for oversimplified plans. Hi, Jeff here with Madrona Financial and CPAs. Don't settle for a partial plan. Get the real deal by requesting your no-cost Madrona analysis today and discover what you may be missing. Call 833-673-7373 right now to request your analysis. That's 833-673-7373.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Hey, you know Earthwise Salvage in Soto? That really cool place with all the amazing doors, windows, and other treasure? Great news! They just opened a brand new location nearby. The Salvage Lumber Warehouse is ready to serve as a central resource for contractors, builders, home DIYers, and hobbyist woodworkers, providing access to clean, de-nailed lumber ready for reuse, flooring, beams, siding, mantles, live edge slabs, and so much more. All harvested from structures, not forests. Visit EWSalvage.com.
Guys, want long-term health you can count on? It starts with knowing your numbers. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value, including testosterone, blood sugar, heart health, and more. Take control of your health today and stay strong for the long haul. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com today.
Join in on the conversation by sending a text to 888-973-5476. That's 888-973-KIRO.
Amazon Business. Discover smart business buying, where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Democrats say they will hold up a key national security bill if President Trump does not replace his pick for temporary director of national intelligence. It's the U.S. mortgage chief, William Pulte, who has no national intelligence background. Today in the Oval Office, the president said,
it's an acting position. It's not a permanent. He's not going to be permanent because, I don't think he'd want to be permanent. But he's a very smart guy, and he may find out some things about the rigged elections, et cetera, et cetera.
President said that he intends to nominate Todd Blanche to be the permanent attorney general. He's currently the acting AG, but some key Republicans in the Senate say they want more information about Blanche's background as President Trump's lawyer. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton set to plead guilty to illegally retaining national security information, and sources say he'll pay a fine of more than $2 million. On the eve of the May jobs report, the Dow closed at a new record high, up more than 1%. This is ABC News. Police in Northern California are asking for information after a shooting in the parking lot of a high school graduation ceremony in Fairfield, says ABC's Alex Stone.
An 18-year-old victim of the shooting is dead, and 3 more victims who are 11, 20, and 25 years old are injured after the shooting in the parking lot of Fairfield High School on Wednesday evening. A graduation ceremony had concluded for Sam Yetto Continuation High School. About 1,000 people attended the event. Fairfield police say there are hundreds of potential witnesses. At this time, police say there is no ongoing threat to the public, and they are following up on leads. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Karen Reed is suing the Massachusetts State Police in the town of Canton. Reed had faced 2 trials in connection with the death of her boyfriend, a Boston police officer who was found dead on a lawn after a night of drinking in a snowstorm. She was found not guilty. Her lawsuit alleges misconduct and negligence. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
Coming up, a court date for the man accused in the murder of a UW student. That's after Nate Connors at the real-time traffic desk.
All right, Aaron, we're starting to see some improvement down there in Georgetown. Still some big backups on a number of roadways from an earlier collision near the First Avenue South Bridge. That cleared about a half hour ago. I'm beginning to see progress on a lot of the surface streets, but Michigan Street and East Marginal Way are still pretty heavy. But again, I'm seeing both of these routes even starting to thin down, so things are improving down there. Seattle to Federal Way, 35 minutes heavy from MLK Junior Way to 516. Tacoma, we still got a crash South 5 just past the Puyallup River Bridge in your 2 left lanes. That includes your HOV lane, and you're backed up bumper to 320th there in Federal Way. So Federal Way to Tacoma is a 45-minute commute right now. That's a half-hour delay. Some alternate routes include State Route 99, 509, and 167. And speaking of 167, Renton to Puyallup along 167, we're pushing 50 minutes. Pretty solid from State Route 18 into Puyallup. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo, and updates in the case involving the stabbing death of a University of Washington student. Here's KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery.
Christopher Leahy did not appear at his scheduled arraignment today. Casey McNerthney with the King County Prosecutor's Office says a judge ordered Leahy to undergo a mental health evaluation.
The defendant will be committed to Western State Hospital for 15 days of observation. The judge also ordered that a forensic evaluator with DSHS, which runs Western State, conduct the competency evaluation.
Leahy is accused in the murder of Juniper Blessing inside a laundry room at an off-campus apartment building last month. Leahy has not yet entered a plea. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Father in Aberdeen now facing charges in the death of his 4-year-old son. In mid-May, detectives grew concerned after no one had seen the boy for some time and launched an investigation. The Daily Chronicle reports the child's body was later found buried on the father's property. Authorities have not released the cause of death, but the father was arrested today, now charged with second-degree murder. A 21-year-old led state troopers on a car chase after vandalizing the state capitol building overnight. Chris Loftus with State Patrol says troopers heard the commotion as they say he was hurling rocks at windows and doors.
I've seen at least one of the rocks he was using. It was about the size of I'd say a volleyball. So it was not a small projectile that he was picking up, taking over his head and throwing it as hard as he could at these windows. But they didn't break.
Suspect was caught after crashing his car and trying to run. A $100,000 pickup truck seized from a drug dealer is now the centerpiece of a joint DEA FIFA drug safety campaign. Rob Saccone with the DEA Seattle field office says the pricey Dodge Ram is now decked in a special wrap reading Fentanyl-Free America.
He was utilizing it to peddle drugs, and now we've flipped the script on the drug traffickers, and we're utilizing that vehicle as a public service announcement to raise awareness about the dangers of fentanyl.
He says you may spot that truck around World Cup fan zones over the next few weeks. To your forecast now, looking at some sun breaks at this hour, and tomorrow more clouds, highs in the low 60s, see some showers Friday night, continuing into Saturday. Right now, 64 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome to the John Curley Show. Mike Lewis here. Spike O'Neill here. Mayor Katie Wilson has a whole battery of things in front of her, not to mention many of them focusing on, or at least ancillary to, the World Cup, from a variety of things that the city wants to do in terms of shelters for the homeless, to cleanups in town, to moving of encampments, to the reintroduction of a pretty fancy park at Westlake, all of that kind of stuff. Seattle also, though, is trying to move ahead on some of its larger, longer-term ambitions. And one of those things is to find a way to build more affordable housing. Now, there's all kinds of different schools of thought about how you go about doing that in a city. And I don't know that there's any city in America that's really managed to that's become a boomtown that's ever managed to outstrip the cost of housing and the people's income, which has always been a pain point in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in New York, in Chicago, in Miami, in Seattle, in Portland. Like when a city becomes a popular place and money starts flooding in, and then businesses start flooding in, and then more people start flooding in, you're going to get a supply-demand equation that a city can't really always respond to very effectively. But one of the ways cities try to do this is to at least take off the restrictions on how to build housing. One of the very popular ideas, the idea that got very popular in the United States, at least among sort of more left-leaning cities, was what Minneapolis did. Minneapolis, a few years ago, took away all zoning requirements that restricted neighborhoods to single-family homes. All of them. Blanket across the city. And that was supposed to inspire people to build more ADUs, to tear down a house or maybe a house and a house next to it and build more high-density housing. And in some neighborhoods it seemed to work. It probably didn't work quite as fast and quite as aggressively as some cities, or rather some people in Minnesota wanted it to do. The one thing that was lost in that discussion, though, was that Minneapolis could do this quite easily because it didn't have the same level of environmental remediation restrictions that you have in many cities, certainly in Western cities. In the Midwest, many of those cities don't have that same level of environmental restriction on construction. You have to go through a whole EIR process in Seattle for that sort of development that you don't have to in some cities. So what is Seattle's solution to this? Well, some folks, at least on the city council, Eddie Lynn, new city council member, has proposed that we at least back away from some of the regulations that tie up developers longer than they would have to be. And remember, when you refer to tying up a developer, what you're saying is when someone's developing property, they have it down to the penny on how they're going to make money on this thing. And so you do anything to delay it. You do anything that changes interest rates. All of those things can take what is a viable project and turn it into a non-viable project pretty quickly. And sometimes what happens is neighbors who just don't want more development in their neighborhood for whatever reason, good or bad, they will use the process to go through sort of environmental approval on a property as a way of halting a development in its tracks. This is an idea to remove some of those restrictions. And so, Spike, I guess the question for you is that the appropriate approach to having a city like free up faster building of more housing?
I think it's a situation worth looking at, but I don't think that you can discount the value and importance of these environmental impact studies. I mean, when you talk about Minneapolis found the cure was to eliminate the single-family housing restrictions, and we've got that in a lot of places in Seattle. We have some places that are still completely restricted to single-family homes, but whenever they're not, what you see is a house go down and 6 go up in its lot. We see that everywhere, from backyard cottages being built to literally a house drops and 6 places go in that one lot with 6 parking beneath. And what that does to an environment in a community when that's done over and over and over again is significant, and it can be harmful. I understand that you want houses built quickly, and I do realize the amount of, I think it's like 36% of the cost of any build in Seattle is going to be with regulations, restrictions, and permitting. I mean, we make it almost impossible for builders to build here. And yet we scream that we need more affordable housing. And we count on the city government to come up with the solutions as opposed to having private industry, private entrepreneurship solve that problem. But you can't just abandon these. I like the city council members saying we need to look at removing some of them.
Right. That's what he's saying. He's saying that there are some that are duplicative that you could remove. There are some that you don't need to have the appeal at that level. You could have it at an additional level once more of the project. There's a variety of things that he's doing. I don't think he's saying remove them. I think what he's saying is make them a little less onerous. Anyone who's tried to build anything in Seattle knows that at times it can be fairly onerous. If you are Amazon, it's not when you get your own floor in the Department of Planning and Improvement. But when that's not an exaggeration.
No, and you mentioned that,
but they were also building at such an alarming rate that a lot of that stuff got sort of the concierge treatment that the rest of us, don't get.
Well, you mentioned that a lot of residents use it; they weaponize it to slow down development.
Sure.
And let's eliminate the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Because just because you don't like, I mean, here's my other issue with this is there's all these regulations and all these different requirements and zoning this, zoning that, approval this, approval that. This is revenue to the city that we're talking about eliminating. Every solution creates another set of problems. You talk about eliminating some of these regulations and permitting processes for a city that's already underwater with regard to its budget. You're taking away some revenue streams to a city. That's another problem altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see any financial analysis on this. So you may be right, but I don't know.
Well, it costs money to have all these studies done.
Well,
the city makes that money, right?
Yeah, but it also, I mean, I don't know what the city has to spend on any given, of its own people, of its own money, on any given development. I don't know what that math is. But I would say this, that I think streamlining the regulations does make some sense. If people, I mean, what a lot of businesses would say that they're less concerned about they're concerned about cost, but they're mainly concerned about predictability, and they're concerned about predictability over time. And if they know that everything that's in place now is going to be the same thing, same regulations in place 2 years, they can actually plan ahead for a project.
Yeah.
When you start changing that stuff around, when the city starts trying to eliminate natural gas, and I'm not saying whether I'm for or against it, but when the city does that, there are projects that have presumed that being available. Mm-hmm. And that means that project is either scrapped or radically altered. And so if this streamlines things and makes it a little bit more consistent, I'm all for it. Do I think there should be environmental remediation? 100%.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, sometimes people forget that when you read about a 7.0 earthquake in Seattle, which happened back 2001.
The Squally.
Yeah, in the Squally quake, back when I just moved to town. And you see I don't know what it was. It was something like maybe 6 months later, same exact magnitude quake in, I think it was Tehran. And the difference was how many people died here?
0.
Right.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. It was like 7,000 people.
The country was knocked over.
The difference was, of course, the building regulations. Right. And the earthquake movement itself, you would have to ask somebody who understands that. But my understanding is that a lot of it was, unsupported, unreinforced concrete buildings, things like that. That's what crumbles very quickly.
No reinforcement. You bet.
So I guess my point being that I'm in favor of building regulations, and I'm in favor of the environmental regulations to the extent that they're actually making us both healthier and safer. However, is there sometimes duplicative regulations that really get in the way of actually just moving a project along that's been approved? 100%. And if this can accomplish that, it'd be good to have a builder, here in the studio with us to talk about it, to find out whether or not this is window dressing or whether this actually is something that would allow the city to build more housing. I always have my doubts that a city can build its way out of this sort of, really what needs to happen is just a deceleration in the number of new people moving into town. And I don't know there's no real way to control that, except that with the tech slump, I think we're going to see that kind of naturally. But I do think that the city should do everything it can to try and keep it as affordable as possible a city becomes, I think, at its best when it has a lot of different income levels able to live in one community at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think when a city becomes like Manhattan, where you have to have a high level of wealth even just to get in the game. I don't think that's healthy for any society, personally.
Well, we see that all the time. Studies of the state of Washington or the city of Seattle, King County, whatever metric you want to use, what it costs to live here, what it costs for a family to be able to afford a home here. You're right. We have priced out the lower economic end of our spectrum. And you said businesses come here, industry comes here, organizations headquarter here. They bring in a lot of high-paid, quality employees. That just drives up the market because they can afford to pay with the money they earn. It prices everybody else out of the market. And without an affordable workforce that can afford to live in your town, you're doomed.
And on the other end of the spectrum, also dealing with the mayor's office, is the mayor's target goal of 500 new tiny homes,
shelter beds, yeah,
for the city's homeless population before June 1st.
For World Cup is what they were hoping for.
What's the date today?
Today is the 4th.
We missed that. And
we're not going to admit 500 by kickoff.
We're not going to.
I think they got 75.
Yeah. Not great. Great column by Danny Wisney in the Seattle Times. I suggest everyone read it. The nice thing, Danny has been sort of like beating the hammer on this particular thing in the tiny homes, because the tiny home villages in places have been very, very effective. The problem has been that we have these empty structures sitting in storage because the city moves relatively slowly at trying to get these things actually implemented.
Placed, yeah.
To Mayor Wilson's credit, stating that out loud and giving everyone a bright line target to hold out there against what you've accomplished, against what you have said. I think that's there are too many politicians who won't even make a promise and then be held to that promise. They equivocate on even before making the promise. So, all right, she did not get there, and she did not get there because the city didn't move fast enough to do these things. But that goal is still there, and by the end of the year is the goal they're now restating. They want an additional 1,000 units. We'll see if we actually get there. But the idea of expanding those tiny home villages has actually, there's another one. There's two pretty close to where I live that I ride my bicycle past all the time, both of which seem to be from a distance. I'm just riding past them, but I'm riding past them all the time. Relatively well, they're clean. I don't see, law enforcement there ever. I mean, they seem to be relatively well run, and I know that they can vary from tiny home village to tiny home village. A new one that's going in, and it's going in, weirdly enough, right next to, I drive past it 4 times a week because it's right next to, it's in the former, it was Whole Foods. Well, I guess Whole Foods now, but owned by Amazon, in the shopping center on 15th.
It's Interbay business or Interbay commercial area.
Right.
It's got a Total Wine and More. It's got a Home Goods.
Sort of. That's kind of across the street, but yes.
But that same little complex
same little area right there, right on the Burlington Northern tracks. Right.
Is the tiny village going into like the back wall of Whole Foods? That corner right on 15th.
So if you were to enter that shopping center and you were to stand in front of and look directly at the front doors of the Whole Foods, it would be to your left and behind the building. There was an empty lot, not entirely empty, but now it's been cleared, and now they're putting in the tiny home villages.
There's a self-storage.
Yeah, there's essentially there's a storage place, and there's essentially not really an alley, but the equivalent of an alley that runs along the backside. And that's where this tiny home village is going. And then there's another one on Interbay just a little ways down from that. And that's where it's going to go in. And apparently that has raised some consternation, right?
I was told yesterday that I'm a monster for not being outraged that it's within a quarter mile, 500 yards, I'm not sure the distance, of a early learning center. I think it's Bright Starts, or I forget the name of the facility that's been there for about 8 years, because you shouldn't have this type of blight so close to where young children are being provided daycare.
Right.
First off, where are you going to put these things? I mean, you're always within 500 feet of a school or daycare somewhere in this town. If you can put it there, some people say, why you put it near a liquor store? Well, no matter where you put it, if people are going to feed their addictions, they're going to feed their addictions.
Right.
I'm a big fan of the tiny villages. We've had Andrea Suarez from We Heart Seattle on our show numerous times, and she raised some very valid points about the low barrier entry that the mayor's programs and philosophies dictate how things go in this town, whether it's Section 8 multi-use housing up north end of the city or these tiny villages. There are wraparound services provided.
Yeah,
but not required.
Right.
And I understand the dynamic that, people are going to get clean when they want to get. That's exactly where I thought it was. That's exactly where I thought it was. Right, the back wall of the Whole Foods.
Right.
Andrea brings in evidence, video evidence, and numerous stories from numerous residents that people with addictions are into these tiny housing villages, and it's great they're not on the street, but their addictions follow them into the villages, and drug dealers prey on these communities. They know when the first of the month, the third of the month is. They know when the checks come in.
Right.
And some of these tiny village houses are being used as basically drug shacks. And they say, well, at least they're not doing it on the street. At least they're not doing it on. It's still. I don't know that you're ever going to get there without some type of requirement for sobriety. I mean, part of the issues with homelessness is drug addiction and mental health care.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor of San Francisco has taken a much harder line with regard to their homeless community, requiring sobriety to be an element of taking part of the city's provided housing. And it's had phenomenal results. The housing number in San Francisco, which was a talking point for the other side for years, they've cut their homeless population nearly in half because he's taken a harder line.
Yeah, San Jose has done something similar.
Is Seattle ever going to be able to fix this problem with a mentality? It's like, well, let's just get you off the streets first, and then when you're ready, we'll get you clean. I don't know if I'm a recovering addict. I understand what the demon is for addiction, but if you're not requiring people to make this hard choice or forcing them to have this hard choice through incarceration, are we ever going to get there?
Yeah, I mean, this has been the conundrum in Seattle. I mean, it wants to see itself as a very progressive city where if you dig a little deeper well of compassion, you'll catch more people. And in some cases, maybe that is true, but I think that there are other cases where you have to have a standard. In San Jose, the standard was when you were camping somewhere in a tent, you were offered 2 times to asked to move. You would not, and then they'd come back a second time. On the third time, every time when you were approached, you were offered shelter.
Yeah.
If you refused shelter on the third time, your stuff was removed anyway, and there was a potential arrest involved. But you were given sort of an opportunity to do something else, only with the caveat that you were going to be provided shelter. They couldn't ask you to leave unless they were going to provide you with some form of shelter.
Right. Yeah.
And it was fairly successful, and the mayor became very popular. Actually, ended up running. I think he's not anymore after the primary, but was running for governor of California.
One of 60.
Yeah, one of 60 people doing that, which is standard for California. But I mean, what you're saying is Seattle's great about the carrot, not so great about the stick. And
there's hardly any stick.
Yeah, and that is probably something that I don't know that this mayor's office is going to consider or not, but there probably is a component that needs to be in there somewhere.
You see Spencer Pratt running for mayor of Los Angeles with quotes like, "Well, all our homeless are just going to go to Seattle. The mayor will welcome them."
Yeah,
there's a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah, entirely true. Nate Connors, real-time traffic desk.
Yes, sir.
We are inching ever closer and inching maybe an operative word here to 5 o'clock.
Yeah, you know what? Things have actually improved around the area, especially in Georgetown since our last report. So that's good news. In Federal Way, South 5, we're packed at South 320th to the Emerald Queen there in Tacoma, where we recently cleared a collision. So we're slowly improving. But right now, Federal Way to Tacoma is still a 45-minute commute, a 25-minute delay. Now, North 5, you're packed from the 5 curve up to State Route 18. Tacoma to Olympia is going to take you an hour. You've got a 4-mile grind through JBLM, another backup between Lacey and Olympia. South Center, North 405, bumper to bumper coming off I-5 through those S-curves. It's a half hour between South Center and Bellevue. Coming the other way, Bellevue to South Center is at 35 minutes. It's jam-packed approaching 520 to Coal Creek Parkway before you thin out. We have cleared out, though, down in South Center. And again, in Georgetown, most of our earlier backups have cleared. What's left is a pretty hefty backup still northbound on East Marginal from First Avenue all the way to the West Seattle Bridge. Catch a little break, and then you're going to jam up again through that downtown tunnel. And it's 50 minutes to get through downtown on northbound I-5. Heavy backups from the Michigan Curve across the Ship Canal Bridge. This report brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Summer's fast approaching. Get a quote for a new air conditioning system on your phone in 60 seconds from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com now. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With Smart Business Buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
Power your drive with Mobil 1 motor oil. Buy 5 quarts, get $15 back, and score a fast and furious prize after rebate at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Jason Rance here with Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. Greg, there are a ton of national advertisers offering services similar to yours. Why shouldn't I go with one of them?
National firms are an interesting phenomena, if you will, because I hear from clients that tried them initially, and they tell me these stories that are just really hard to believe, Jason. They'll call, and the person that they're talking to is really a salesperson. They don't really know the tax resolution business at all. They're trying to make a sale. And so they overpromise, and they'll hook them with a very low initial fee. Then when that case starts moving down the road, all of a sudden the person's getting a phone call. "Oh, you need to pay us thousands of dollars to get this thing done." And they tell me sometimes it never gets done.
So it's a tax resolution scheme without any of the resolution.
I really believe part of it is.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, call Greg Nunn with None Better Tax Resolution. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Give your attic an overhaul with new insulation from Guardian Roofing, Gutters, and Insulation. Stay cool all summer, slash utility bills, and boost your home's air quality. Call now and get $300 off attic ceiling and ventilation, or visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Eric Johnson here. I covered a lot of accidents over the past 30 years or so, but I never got to say much about what to do after a crash. Be honest, do you know what evidence to collect, what pictures to take, what documents to request, or what you shouldn't say to your insurance company? The Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the roads throw at them. Know your rights and how to avoid common mistakes after an accident by getting your free copy at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Clutter happens. Let Closets by Design save the day. For a limited time, get 40% off plus an additional 15% off and 18 months 0% financing on approved credit if paid in full. Go to closetsbydesign.com or call 1-800-BY-DESIGN.
Are you a homeowner, 62 or older, and realize that your Social Security and other income may not carry you through your retirement years? Have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage? Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at Tila Mortgage, a local company serving Washington residents for 30 years. And if you want to know how a reverse mortgage works or have questions like, are reverse mortgages safe? Will I still own my home? Or do I really have the option of not making monthly mortgage payments? Call Tila for a no-pressure conversation. They'll answer your questions with personalized recommendations and loan options that can safely help you improve your monthly cash flow, increase your available income, pay off debt, or make home improvements. Call Tila today. Tila, spelled Tila, is a name you could trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
TilaMortgage.com. Insurance and property taxes are borrower's responsibility. Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
Drivers who switch their home and auto with Progressive could save money and time. Other things try to do this, but they really don't. Like the touchscreen at fast food places. It's not like you save time because it takes you longer to use a touchscreen than, I don't know, someone who works there. And another thing, you'd think it would save money because they're not paying a cashier, right? But no, same price. Also, why is there an option to tip? Who am I tipping? Exactly. Anyway, even if you can't save money and time with some things, you could with a Progressive home and auto bundle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon, I'm Aaron Granillo. A man's recovering after being shot by a sheriff's deputy responding to a fire. KIRO News Radio's Jillian Raftery explains.
It started with a vehicle that was on fire at a property in Yelm. This is apparently a place where law enforcement have had multiple reports of violent crimes in the past, so firefighters don't go there without a backup from law enforcement. And when they did get there, Thurston County Sheriff's deputies say a man charged them and pulled a gun. One deputy opened fire, hitting that man at least once. He is expected to survive. A regional task force will investigate. Jillian Raftery for KIRO News Radio.
Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson is standing firm on her directive to keep surveillance cameras off in the stadium district during the World Cup unless there's a credible threat.
We're kind of balancing competing priorities here, right? Concerns around data security and potential abuse of data versus the utility of the cameras in solving crime.
Wilson was speaking at a City Club event saying the cameras may be activated after further study. Members of the Seattle City Council object. They say the council has already passed measures approving those cameras. The city of Seattle is now paying $2.6 million to settle claims from 4 Seattle police officers. The women allege sexual harassment, gender discrimination, and a hostile work environment. That lawsuit filed in 2024 accused current and former department leaders of misconduct. In a statement, the city attorney's office says in parts, the settlement does not reflect an admission of wrongdoing or unlawful conduct by any of the named individuals. A small drop in gas prices, at least for now. Here's KIRO News Radio's Amanda Factor.
The Strait of Hormuz is closed for the 94th day. One Exxon executive warns crude oil could spike to $160 a barrel. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy tells Seattle's Morning News it's hard to predict.
A lot of people, trying to hit a dartboard from miles away. I mean, he could be right. There's a growing sense of alarm.
The national average of a gallon of regular gas is down about 19 cents over the past week to $4.20 a gallon. Washington's average dropped about 6 cents to $5.66. DeHaan warns if crude hits $160, Washington drivers could be paying as much as $6.50 a gallon. Amanda Factor, KIRO News Radio.
Let's go now to the real-time traffic desk. Here's Nate Connors.
Thanks, Aaron. It's pretty busy out there today. Let's start you in Seattle, where we have a new crash at South 5 just before Mercer. This involves a collision with a charter bus and a passenger vehicle, and it's blocking 3 center lanes, and you're bumper to bumper at North Gateway. Linwood to Seattle just went up to 55 minutes, a 20-minute delay. 50 minutes to get through downtown on northbound I-5. Solid backup from the Michigan Curve across the Ship Canal Bridge. Seattle to Federal Ways at 35 minutes. We're heavy from MLK Junior Way all the way to 516. And then once you get into Federal Way, South 5, we're packed at South 320th down to the Emerald Queen Casino there in Tacoma from an earlier collision. That has since cleared, but Federal Way to Tacoma is going to take you 45 minutes. That's about a 25-minute delay there. Let's see. North 5 is packed from the Fife Curve up to State Route 18. Just heavy volume here. Tacoma to Olympia, we're struggling at 1 hour this afternoon. 4-mile bumper-to-bumper backup through JBLM, and then a growing backup between Lacey and Olympia. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Weather now, looking at some partly cloudy skies tonight, increasing clouds tomorrow, showers tomorrow night, followed by storms on Saturday. Right now, 64 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Start your day with solutions, not problems. KIRO 7 pinpoint weather and real-time traffic every 10 minutes. From downpours to backups, whatever is waiting for you when you head out the door, KIRO 7 News in the Morning will get you prepared. Stay up to the minute every 10 minutes. Watch KIRO 7 News in the Morning, 4:30 to 7 a.m.
This hour of the John Curley Show brought to you by Bucky's Auto Repair. Mike, what do you got for us, man?
You know the parable of the scorpion and the snake?
Is this the no, I don't think I do. Crossing the river.
One where
Is there a river involved?
I mean, obviously this involves talking animals, so perhaps it's not.
No, I'm with you.
It's
Come on,
not a
bring
news story.
Bring it. I lived through the 70s.
The scorpion needs to get across a river, sees a snake swimming by, says, "Hey, if you carry me across, I'll return the favor someday." And the snake says, "You're a scorpion. I don't actually trust you to do anything like that. You're going to sting me. We're both going to die." And the scorpion says, "Why would I do that? Why would I want to kill both of us?"
Right, we die.
Gets on the snake's back. They get about halfway across the river. Of course, the scorpion stings the snake as the water is closing over him. The snake says, "Now, why did you do this? We're both going to drown." The scorpion says, "I know, but it's just my nature." I bring you to 60 Minutes. So in the 60 Minutes meeting, if you folks have not followed this, if you have watched 60 Minutes, that was like, weirdly enough, in my household, it was family viewing. It was Sunday nights, I think, if I remember correctly, when I was a kid.
Ours as well.
And you'd hear the stopwatch ticking, and you would watch, and we all would. I mean, it wasn't like required. I liked it when I was a kid, and my mom and dad loved it, and so it was always one of those things. And plus, back then, with only it's not like everyone was carrying around a little TV as they do now. You only had one TV, so maybe I'm remembering it fondly that I liked it, and maybe I wanted something else to be on. But the fact was, we had one TV, and so you were watching whatever was on.
Right.
But the point is this: it became like one of those staples in American journalism, and well regarded, and still to this day, the most popular news program in America. But it's been in a series of meltdowns. This is the most recent is Scott Pelley, who was fired, one of their more prominent journalists who's worked there 30 years, done a whole bunch of amazing, from war coverage to consumer stuff. Like, he really runs the gamut of excellent television journalism. He got into a fight with the new managers there, who have been letting go some of their better journalists. Barry Weiss, who's running the whole network, and then a guy named Scott Bilton, who is the new boss of the program itself.
He's a 60 Minutes executive producer. Barry Weiss runs CBS News.
CBS News.
Okay.
CBS News.
Got it.
Sorry about that.
No. I was just clear. No, you weren't wrong.
And so Scott gets into it, saying, this is not. You guys are murdering the show, essentially, and it becomes this public fight. Well, a big fight in the 15-minute all-staff meeting that apparently melted down very quickly because the whole staff was there, had many concerns about the way the program was being run and the way the program was being decimated. It led to Scott Pelley getting fired because they decided that sort of objection and his language was insubordinate, that they couldn't work with anymore. Although Barry Weiss did say that, we tried to work something out, and Scott Pelley recounted, they didn't try to work anything out. They just fired me. And he's also saying that is their prerogative to do so. If they decided that they don't want somebody there, they can fire somebody there. But here's the thing. I'm always shocked when you see these stories, because these stories have come out of the New York Times when they've made major changes. It came out of the Jeff Bezos era.
Washington Post.
Bet, I mean, major publications, depending on who I don't remember the name of the current owner of the LA Times, these stories. And the thing that always surprises me is the same thing that we even dealt with when they were moving to online only and laying off 95% of us at the Post-Intelligencer back in 2009. I don't understand, and this is back to the Scorpion. I do not understand why anyone holds a meeting with a room full of people who work at a news publication, and largely that would be journalists and the editors, the graphic artists, all the people who work at a newsroom, and many have the same ideas about journalism, that when they have a meeting, they expect somehow all of these qualities that they hired this group of people for being, for not being cowed by authority, for asking hard questions in situations, for having a lot of passion about their jobs, for not taking no for an answer. All the qualities you want in them, you're now unhappy that they're using when it's their own livelihood at stake, and when it's their own colleagues' livelihood at stake, and when it's their own understanding of what the job is at stake. And I'm always like, that happened to us when they brought in I think he's still one of the executives at Hearst. His name was Steve Schmidt, maybe. They brought him into the newsroom, and our publisher at the time, a guy named Roger Oglesby, I think Roger was a pleasant enough guy. I didn't get to know him very well, but then he started off the meeting by saying, "We will not be taking any questions." I'm like, well, what did you hire us for? Like, what on earth? Do you know the people in this room? And it was like him probably trying to protect the corporate exec from Hearst Corporation. But it was such an odd thing. And I brought it up with him in the meeting. Like, it seems antithetical to why you put these people in the room. Like, it's just our nature. You're going to get questions. And in this particular case, like, they were also offended that they got the same level of questioning that they hired these people to make pointed outward. They just didn't want it to happen inward. And I'm sorry, it's just their nature. They are going to do stuff like this. And if you don't expect to be able to have a meeting where you're going to get extremely specific questions and you're going to get pushback on anything you say that doesn't seem logical or plausible, get out of the business. And I don't understand why these folks think they can run a news organization. You have to hire people like this if you want a successful one. The reason CBS was successful was because they hired a bunch of people who were smart and aggressive. And this is not what we see it in football. You actually encourage people to do something that is like legal violence for a living, and then you're shocked when they overstep, or you're shocked when they like. How can you possibly be shocked? How do you not understand like the world that you have built? And in this particular case, Scott Pelley was asking very good questions from a bunch of people who had no capacity to answer them. Well, I don't know. It seems like they did it to themselves, and then they were surprised when it happened.
Well, it seems to me that, and I've got a very biased point of view to this, to be completely honest, but it seems to me that CBS's new direction from a news perspective is coming down from ownership. Ownership decides what news is. Ownership decides what facts is. CBS's executive directors of 60 Minutes and CBS News in general, they don't want unbiased, fact-based reporting. They want an agenda. They want a slanted perspective that favors this administration. And I personally, just my opinion, think that the ownership of CBS, which is what Paramount and Skydance, the Ellisons, they wanted their merger, and this administration was in charge of granting it or not. It's all about money.
All of that understood. I agree with you on all that. But then just don't hold the meeting and just make your decisions.
Well,
I mean, you can not hold the meeting. That is your job. That's a manager decision as well.
Scott Pelley said, look, they asked me to put false information into a news report. I refused to do it. I avoided the subject. It wasn't Scott Pelley that didn't want to answer the questions. They didn't want the integrity of that newsroom anymore.
But I guess my point is quite literally just a tactical one. You are going to sit in front of a room of people whose lives you are radically changing, who you hired to ask aggressive questions in exactly these situations.
And you knew what they were when you took them on.
Why hold the meeting? Why if you knew you couldn't answer their questions sufficiently? I think 60 Minutes was a long-standing like staple in American journalism, and I think it's really, really sad what's happening there. But I would say the management decisions are perplexing to me because it's like they did not understand the beast they were poking, and now they do. Now they're very unhappy about it. And now I'm sure that those changes that they thought were going to take years are going to take months, which is a shame.
And Pelley's reaction was called performative. It was performative on purposes. He wanted the world to know how he felt about the direction of CBS News and 60 Minutes.
He checked the retirement account before he said anything.
Just fine.
Worked on it that way. All right. Nate, it's good that we had good news at the last break on traffic. Is that good news continuing?
Yeah, well, I mean, things haven't gotten much
relatively
worse.
speaking.
Yes, indeed. But it is still a tough commute around the Sound. South 5, just before Mercer, we got a collision involving a charter bus and a passenger vehicle, and they're blocking your 3 center lanes. So we're bumper to bumper to Northgate Way. Linwood to Seattle's at 55 minutes, a 25-minute delay. 50 minutes to get through downtown on North 5. Those backups start at the Michigan Curve. Seattle to Everett, 55 minutes. We're heavy from, and that's once you get over the Ship Canal Bridge. It's heavy from Northgate into Mill Creek. Bellevue to Everett, an hour 20. We're solid from Bellevue, almost starting at I-90 now, up to the Alderwood interchange, and it's really thick through Kirkland. Everett to Marysville, just under 15. You're crowded between 526 and 528. And in the south end, Tacoma to Olympia, a 1 hour drive, 4 to 5 mile backup through JBLM, and again, a pretty lengthy backup between Lacey and Olympia. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
Olympic Hot Tub has more ways than ever to achieve total wellness at home. Immerse yourself in a saltwater hot spring spa and let jets melt stress away. Enjoy a refreshing swim in an endless pool swim spa. Retreat to healing warmth and detox in a Tilo sauna. Then awaken mind and body with a cold plunge. You'll be saying, ah, in no time. Your path to wellness starts today at Olympic Hot Tub. Current specials with exciting savings at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Spike O'Neill here for Ageless Living. Recently, my aunt had surgery and she was home the next day. But we weren't sure if we were ready or equipped to give the kind of care that she needed, so we called Ageless Living and asked about respite care. A short-term stay that provides 24/7 expert care, Ageless Living amenities, and peace of mind for you and your family. Go to agelessliving.com/spike and schedule a visit. It can be a much-needed break for a caregiver and a chance for you and your family to get a look and a taste of what Ageless Living offers. That's agelessliving.com/spike.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
The sun is shining. It's a beautiful day for baseball.
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house. Case in point, your ticket might be for the view level, but it's more like Skyline City. Up here, it's hard to say what'll take your breath away first. The gorgeous Seattle sunsets or the spectacular views of every incredible play. If you like value with the view, it's the perfect place to take quality time with the family to a whole new level. Literally.
A bases clearing, 3-run double. Everybody on their feet here at T-Mobile Park.
Mariners baseball. Trident's up.
Don't miss out on Mariners fireworks nights all summer long. Presented by T-Mobile. The next show is coming up on Friday, June 19th as the Mariners take on the Red Sox. Go to mariners.com/fireworks to get your tickets and check out this year's complete lineup, including themes like patriotic, sing-along, 50 seasons, and more.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-895-1414. That's 800-895-1414.
As a social influencer, my days can be busy. 4 a.m., I hit the gym. 4:32, protein smoothie. 5:08, save time and money bundling my home and auto insurance with Progressive. Wait, if I bundle and save time, what would I do then? Just sit here and reflect? Like, why am I qualified to influence anyone? And how those weights are hollow? And half of my followers are bots.
You could save time and money bundling your home and auto when you switch to Progressive. It's one less thing to worry about during your already busy day. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
The team that gave me back my full head of hair, Advanced Hair, is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. Dr. Perungo and his world-class team begin regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. And Advanced Hair guarantees your new hair will grow, just like they did for me. Find out why Advanced Hair is the best of the best. With your free consultation, you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Guys, it's Men's Health Month at Revive Seattle. Get a free comprehensive wellness panel. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, heart health, and more. Valued at $400. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Welcome back to the John Curley Show. Mike Lewis, Spike O'Neill here. Melinda French Gates is expanding her portfolio of interest by joining the Seattle Kraken as a minority investor pending NHL approval. The league has to approve any new owners. Melinda French Gates is worth $30 billion. My guess is she can afford this. And
she could one of the few people who buy the Seahawks outright.
And this is an interesting step because doesn't just mean that she is going to be part of the group managed by Samantha Holloway, who was the daughter of the late David Boardman. No. Bonderman. David Bonderman, the owner. He and Bruckheimer were the two big money. Bonderman was a guy who has founded a terrific scholarship. He's a billionaire, founded a terrific scholarship at the University of Washington. Bonderman he and Bruckheimer were the big money that brought the Kraken.
Brought the Kraken down, yeah.
Brought the Kraken in. And she is his daughter, has worked for him for years, and now she has taken over since he passed away. Samantha Holloway, who's also like whip smart, really interesting. I've talked to her just once, really enjoyed it. Melinda's joining this group, and that doesn't just mean that she's going to be a minority owner of the Kraken. It also means if this group is accepted by the NBA, she's going to be a minority owner of whatever iteration of the Sonics. If Seattle gets the Sonics back, and that looks pretty likely at this point, she will be a part of that team too, because this group that Holloway is running is also in the mix for becoming the owners of any NBA franchise that should end up in Seattle. Personally, I think having more women in ownership is a great thing. I think in particular, a city like Seattle, it's nice to have it happen here. And also, I got to say, they're both bright people who bring something a little bit different to the table. And I'm looking for it. I mean, I'm a bigger NBA fan than I am an NHL fan. NHL's fine. It just wasn't what I grew up with growing up in Central Valley, California. Our ice rink burned down when I was a kid. I'm not exaggerating this. When I was 11 years old, the ice rink in my hometown.
It's hard.
I know, but that's like the type of town I grew up in. So
I'm a little disappointed in the news for only just one very selfish reason. When the Seahawks up for sale was announced, my dream team was Mackenzie Scott, Melissa French Gates, and Jody Allen. I wanted the ex First Wives Club type of scenario of an all female ownership of a major sports franchise. I love that Miss French Gates is a part owner in getting into pro sports for the exact same reasons you expressed.
Yeah,
she's a quality individual. She does great work. She's smart.
Yep.
And expanding the
she's lived in the region for a long time. She has roots in this area, so I think it's actually a good thing for Seattle as well as a good thing for Melinda French Gates. We're going to talk about what is a good thing for motorists out here right now with Nick. Nick.
Yeah, that works.
Nick.
South 5 just before South 5 just before Mercer collisions have been moved to the right lane. So that opens up 3 center lanes, which is good news for this bumper-to-bumper backup starting at North Gateway. Linwood to Seattle, 55-minute drive, 25-minute delay. It's 50 minutes to get through downtown on North 5. Your backups start at the Michigan Curve. Seattle to Everett, 55 minutes. Bellevue to Everett, an hour 20, though, and it's solid from I-90 all the way to the Alderwood interchange. And then you're going to join the northbound I-5 backup. Bellevue to Renton, 35 minutes. Jam-packed between 520 and Cold Creek Parkway. South Center to Bellevue's at 25 minutes. We're heavy from I-5 all the way through the S-curves. And Seattle to Tacoma, 55 minutes. Solid backup from Tukwila all the way to Tacoma, but you are close to the speed limit through a good chunk of this. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Nick, you know what's a great thing about going to Longevity Medical Clinic as a couple?
Oh, I absolutely do. When they tell you to do something, you actually do it.
Right. And the same thing with you. When they tell you to do it, because for some reason, when I tell you to do it, you're like, whoa.
I just walk away and roll my eyes.
Exactly. But the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic, the doctors there know, because we do the blood draw and they look and they can see, they know, they hold us accountable.
Yeah, when I'm under pressure and I know I'm coming in, I know I have to work the program.
Right. Plus, we also want to hold each other accountable for how we take care of ourselves because, we want to have a long, healthy, happy life.
I know. I want every day to torture you as long as I possibly can.
Well, I look forward to it. Here's the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic. They're working with you. They're holding you accountable because they want you to have a long, healthy, happy life. I was a patient at Longevity long before I started doing these commercials. So get your free health analysis. Go to lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
With Guardian Roofing Gutters and Insulation, maintenance is the key to a long-lasting roof. Need an inspection, repair, restoration, moss removal, or just a cleanup? Call us today. Our first-time customers can save $99. Visit us at guardianroofing.com.
Get any size high-efficiency AC for just $179.99 a month with zero upfront cost. CM Heating's Comfort as a Service includes lifetime repairs and annual maintenance at no extra charge. Book your free estimate at cmheating.com today.
License number CMHEAHL 751LW. Hey, you know Earthwise Salvage in Soto? That really cool place with all the amazing doors, windows, and other treasure? Great news! They just opened a brand new location nearby. The Salvage Lumber Warehouse is ready to serve as a central resource for contractors, builders, home DIYers, and hobbyist woodworkers, providing access to clean, de-nailed lumber ready for reuse, flooring, beams, siding, mantels, live edge slabs, and so much more. All harvested from structures, not forests. Visit EWSalvage.com.
Are you a homeowner, 62 or older, and realize that your Social Security and other income may not carry you through your retirement years? Have you ever thought about a reverse mortgage? Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at Tila Mortgage, a local company serving Washington residents for 30 years. And if you want to know how a reverse mortgage works or have questions like, are reverse mortgages safe? Will I still own my home? Or do I really have the option of not making monthly mortgage payments? Call Tila for a no-pressure conversation. They'll answer your questions with personalized recommendations and loan options that can safely help you improve your monthly cash flow, increase your available income, pay off debt, or make home improvements. Call Tila today. Tila, spelled T-I-L-A, is a name you can trust for truthful, honest, and ethical advice for all your mortgage needs. Call 206-766-8888. That's 206-766-8888 or
Insurance and property taxes are borrower's responsibility. Tila Mortgage LLC is a mortgage broker. NMLS 2472046.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466. 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Looking for the best deal on a new home? Discover the D.R. Horton Home of the Week. With new home communities from Lacey to Stanwood, D.R. Horton has the right home for the best value. Visit drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM, and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. President Trump now accusing 4 GOP congressmen of grandstanding, calling their actions unpatriotic after they helped pass a war powers resolution on Iran. And he said his administration's original plan for U.S. troops to seize Iran's enriched uranium, but now that's changed.
We could get it right now. I don't think they could stop us if we wanted, but there's no reason to. It's entombed. You use a good word. It's entombed. We also have cameras on it through Space Force.
Hezbollah rejecting a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. They want Israeli troops occupying southern Lebanon to pull out first. President Trump says his administration's using hundreds of millions of dollars to upgrade coal-burning power plants, repurposing funding Congress set aside for renewable energy projects. Sources telling ABC News President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton, is expected to plead guilty to mishandling classified documents in a deal that would allow him to avoid prison time. This is ABC News. Police in Northern California are asking for information after a shooting in the parking lot of a high school graduation ceremony. It happened in Fairfield between San Francisco and Sacramento.
An 18-year-old victim of the shooting is dead, and 3 more victims who are 11, 20, and 25 years old are injured after the shooting in the parking lot of Fairfield High School on Wednesday evening. A graduation ceremony had concluded for Sam Yetto Continuation High School. About 1,000 people attended the event. Fairfield police say there are hundreds of potential witnesses. At this time, police say there is no ongoing threat to the public, and they are following up on leads. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Researchers at the artificial intelligence company Anthropic are advising AI development be able to slow down or pause AI when it needs to. In a post on the company's blog, Anthropic says a pause would allow society and other research to catch up and keep up with AI technology. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Coming up, the DEA is out with a warning ahead of the World Cup. One story coming up after Nate Connors, the real-time traffic desk.
Thank you, Aaron. South 5 in Seattle just before Mercer. This collision that started off blocking 3 center lanes is now blocking 2 right lanes. This is right at the Boylston on-ramp, so it's affecting your the drivers trying to merge onto I-5. So we're bumper to bumper at North Gateway. Linwood to Seattle is going to take you 50 minutes. That's a 20-minute delay. 45 minutes through downtown on North 5. Your hefty backups from the Michigan Curve across the Ship Canal Bridge. Seattle to Everett, 55 minutes. We're heavy from North Gate through Mill Creek. Bellevue to Everett, an hour 15. It's solid from Bellevue all the way to the Alderwood interchange. Southbound 99, bumper to bumper from Green Lake to the stadiums. Northbound 99, we're packed from Soto to South Lake Union. Crossing the lake from Bellevue to Seattle, 35 minutes on both bridge routes. And Bellevue to Renton right now is going to take you 40 minutes. It is packed starting closer to Northeast 60th and Kirkland, all the way to Coal Creek Parkway before things start to thin out for you. The support brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Summer's fast approaching. Get a quote for a new air conditioning system on your phone in just 60 seconds from Home Comfort Alliance. Visit homecomfortalliance.com now. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good evening, I'm Aaron Granello. The man accused of murdering a University of Washington student is headed for Western State Hospital. Today, a judge ordered a competency evaluation for Christopher Leahy. Casey McNerthney is with the King County Prosecutor's Office.
I think a lot of people might hear this and say, does this mean that the criminal case is dismissed? It doesn't. It means that the question of competency that's raised by defense needs to be addressed by the court, and then the case can move forward from there.
19-year-old Juniper Blessing was found stabbed to death in an off-campus laundry room last month. The next court date in this case is set for June 25th. DEA agents descend on Seattle for the World Cup. KIRO News Radio's Corbin Hake explains.
The Drug Enforcement Agency is launching a public information campaign targeting international visitors who don't know the fentanyl scourge the way we do.
Fans coming from other countries may not have ever even heard of fentanyl and what fentanyl does, and that it is a deadly drug.
Rob Saccone is special agent in charge of the DEA Seattle field office. The DEA's new campaign tells global soccer fans, your safety is our goal.
Someone unknowingly may think they're just using cocaine when in fact that cocaine could most likely contain fentanyl.
The agency's message, assume all illicit drugs contain fentanyl or other deadly additives. Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
A drunk man in his 20s was booked into the Thurston County Jail after the State Patrol says he vandalized the Capitol building overnight. Agency's Chris Loftus says the man was caught when troopers heard him throwing rocks at windows on the first floor.
When people drink heavily, they sometimes do very stupid things, and this was a very stupid thing.
Loftus says the suspect hit a patrol vehicle as he tried to speed away before driving across a pedestrian bridge and then crashing. He was eventually arrested after trying to run away. Ichiro was stepping back into the spotlight at T-Mobile Park. The Mariners legend will headline the team's first ever Alumni Home Run Derby, set for August 7th after the M's take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. will oversee the event as a commissioner, while Nelson Cruz and Jay Buhner captain the teams. Lineup is still coming together, but fans can also expect familiar names like Mike Cameron and Ryan Roland Smith joining Ichiro swinging for the fences. To your forecast now, we are seeing increasing sunshine right now. Tomorrow, though, the clouds return. Got a pretty potent storm on the way starting tomorrow night, continuing into Saturday. Right now, 64 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Welcome back to the John Curley Show. Mike Lewis here, Spike O'Neill here, and what is also almost here is the World Cup. We're right on the cusp of the World Cup starting all across the United States. In addition to Canada and Mexico, 3 countries are hosting the World Cup this time around. This 4 years, it happens every 4 years, just as the Olympics do. Off years from the Olympics, and it is arriving here with a lot of fanfare and a wee bit of trouble. With less than, according to to Como News, with less than 2 weeks before Seattle hosts matches during the FIFA Men's World Cup, the Seattle Public Safety Council Committee Chair Bob Kettle escalated his criticism of Mayor Katie Wilson's decision to not activate newly installed CCTV cameras in the stadium district, suggesting she violated established law. In a sharply worded letter, Kettle was one of the people who ran for office here in Seattle with a slight, only in Seattle would you call it a more conservative bent. But yes, that's where we are in Seattle. Bob Kettle is a relatively liberal guy, but he's a liberal guy who is just like slightly tilted a little more toward the center.
He's not far left. He's just far left.
Yeah. And he is unhappy that we did not turn on the security cameras which exist in many cities across the world.
When it comes to World Cup play itself and the continental United States, 11 cities in America, we are the only city.
We're the only city that didn't bother to turn those things on.
And it seems to me that for any potential evildoer, that makes us a soft target. And does that qualify for a threat?
Yeah, I mean,
they say that we only turn the cameras on with a what's the verbiage of it?
Credible threat.
Credible threat.
Here's her describing what that means.
What's a credible threat, and who gets to make the call?
We've been working with SPD on that definition, and I don't have it in my head, but it's pretty common sense. It's basically, if we have an indication that there is a person or an organization that it has the intention to cause harm to, significant harm to people or property during these events or, surrounding these events, and we believe that they could have the ability to carry this out, that would be considered a credible threat. Okay.
And here's Kettle's response to that.
Here's the thing. You don't get credible threat warning. The mayor of Atlanta did not get it in the Summer Olympics in '96. The mayor of Boston did not get it in the 2013. We have to take action now to get ourselves ready for the World Cup.
And that's exactly where my head was going also. I mean, you don't get, you find out something bad happens sometimes after it happened, and then you use these cameras to backtrack and figure out how do you catch these people, which is exactly what happened in Boston. Certainly, I understand the desire to try to stop the surveillance state. I mean, it's already so populated with personal security cameras, which are also all on right now, and people's phones and the rest of the devices that are used to sort of record things that are going on in town. I don't know. It seems to me for a World Cup event, I probably would have raised or canceled or at least suspended the city's moratorium on that for at least that period of time, because you have a whole bunch of people traveling here internationally. If something bad happens, it would be nice to be able to cooperate, because remember, if something bad happens to a foreign national, you're going to have more than one government involved in trying to research what's going on. And it seems like and we always ask for access. If, our country always asks for access to these cameras in London or these cameras in Barcelona, if we have something we want to investigate, it seems to me like a reciprocal agreement, given the nature of this particular competition, isn't such a bad thing to do.
Seems to me the mayor is citing the fear of that federal immigration policy will take advantage of information gathered by these cameras to enforce federal immigration policy, which is against state law, because we're the state law says we're not going to use state resources to perform federal immigration law, right? That's a state policy, also a city policy. That's the mayor's concern, is that these surveillance cameras will gather information that the federal government can then use to enforce immigration policy. But look what risk you're putting on the table.
Right.
Okay, if you don't have these cameras, you make us the only city in America that doesn't use these surveillance opportunities, makes us a soft target for any evildoers. That's a catastrophic opportunity. The risk involved, what's on the table, is catastrophic, as opposed to the potential civil rights violations of people who are visiting this game. I don't know how you look at those two options and decide to put more people at greater risk. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, again,
I'm not for the surveillance state either. I'm with you.
I hear you. I think that it's a shame that the folks who push for yet more and more invasive security have essentially won the argument.
Yeah.
Essentially they've won the argument, right? And it doesn't matter what the actual threat is. The existential threat is there, and that's what everyone is banking on in terms of the way we do policing, to the way we do surveillance, to the way we do information gathering, to the way we do information storing. I think it is the threat is there. I do think that our outside fear of it is probably greater than the threat is there. But nonetheless, this is the world we're in now.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like wanting it to be different doesn't make it different. And I would argue that we probably should for this period of time. And I have been a strong on-air advocate against additional ways to spy on us. I mean, down to allowing people to buy things for cash, right?
Right.
Which is kind of nuts that they can track our transactions, much less even in it. You're buying a $5 item. I bet that there is not a single official World Cup item, souvenir, from a beer to a tiny soccer ball keychain that is that you are not required to do an electronic transaction on. Not one. I bet that there is not a single person taking cash. And this is one of those things, I am not in favor of that. And I'm not in favor of making everything trackable. I don't mind some stuff being trackable. And certainly if something happens to me or my business or someone that I care about, I want all the information possible. So I get it that I'm not sort of cutting a consistent path on this idea. But I do feel like at this point, gosh, that cat is out of the bag and already in an old folks home. It is so far removed now from where we are as a society, and maybe that is not reason enough to concede the point. I'm willing to concede the point. Probably click on the cameras and allow us to sort of be more in cahoots with the other cities in the United States and in Canada and in Mexico that are hosting these games, as well as make it available should there be, and let's hope there isn't, should there be some sort of international incident of some sort. make it available to the because it's going to involve anything that happens at a World Cup. It becomes an international event immediately. You know, we have to sort of participate on the world stage like that. And I understand standing on principles that I sort of in my heart kind of agree with. But I think in this case, the practical application outweighs the principle.
I'm really shocked that today even it's announced that the mayor is sticking to her guns to decide not to involve these surveillance cameras, these additional cameras for World Cup play. And I'm genuinely shocked at it. I thought for sure that as the games got closer, that this city would take the pragmatic step of having these opportunities available for us. Because, like you said, when something happens, you ever heard the analogy that says even if someone thinks they're being watched, it will change their behavior?
Oh no, that's not. It's absolutely true.
It's true. I mean, it's been proven numerous times. So turn the cameras on. Don't be the only city in America that doesn't have the capability to protect itself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%.
Are you excited by this? I mean, I wrote a piece for My Northwest that's up there right now about the World Cup coming to Seattle because I've heard so many people say it's not going to be everything as promised. You know, I know FIFA is a pretty shady reputation, scummy reputation. I was trying to be kind because they are coming to town.
No, there's nothing to be kind. They won't be kind to you. Don't be kind to them.
You know, FIFA it leans on every city involved in World Cup play and has demands of
World
Cup
cartel.
Cities.
Let's just call it what it is. It's practically a criminal organization, and in some ways, it is. I mean, it is. Everyone who's ever said like they feel like the International Olympic Committee is like this, you know, where it's all kinds of payouts and backroom deals. And people getting money to make sure certain things happen in certain places. Like, they're not even close to the professional league. The professional league is FIFA. There is no sports organization worldwide that is more deeply corrupt than this.
But they got the biggest event on the planet.
It is by far the biggest sporting event on the planet. And at its best, it's one of the best sporting events on the planet. At its best, it is the upside of nationalism, which is something I'm not a fan of, but I do like when it comes to soccer. It can be really spectacular, and I've seen some amazing events. And hosting it is, if you grew up a soccer fan, and I played a lot of youth soccer. I grew up more of a motorcycle racing fan than almost anything else, and then the big sports and NBA as well. But over the course of time as an adult, I've become more and more of a soccer fan, and I enjoy going to matches. They've put the price point so ridiculously high, and now there's a lot of unsold tickets. So, I think if you're a gambling type and you are interested in going to the World Cup, sit tight. Keep hitting, on the various secondary ticket seller apps. Keep hitting. Wait for a game to start and keep hitting refresh. Guarantee you're going to find some lesser, maybe not cheap, but less expensive, some better deals if you just can wait until morning of or after kickoff and then walk on in and enjoy your match because they priced it so far out of most people's capacity.
Well, I think it speaks to your point about FIFA's being like a cartel. Their place in this. With the World Cup organizing committees in Seattle projected 750,000 visitors to the city. Yeah. Nearly $1 billion in revenue generated for the city of Seattle. Yeah. I mean, that's what put these prices at this astronomical levels that they are. Right. That's what put hotel prices are crazy. They required 3-day minimum stay commitments to all these hotels, anticipating this tidal wave of money and fandom coming in. But in this, we're just not South America. We're not Europe. We like soccer. We're not passionate. We don't have the fever pitch.
So I think that there's something else involved here. I think that the current administration is not seen as super friendly to travelers from overseas. And
the games in Mexico, the games in Canada, far more attractive to international travelers.
They're getting a lot more bounce than ours are, which is shocking because in most years we would be far and away the preferred because it's just the cities are relatively safe. There's a whole bunch of reasons to do it. The stadiums are very well equipped, but I think that actually sort of cooled people's jets on coming to games here. But there's a lot of games that are still being selling out. I think what's going to happen is that there was this pump up and then a backlash to the pump up. I think it's still going to probably end up bringing a fair bit of business. I think I would stay out of either park on the outskirts of downtown and walk into downtown and enjoy. And remember, there's free things to do too. All the fan zones, where you're going to be gathering with all kinds of people from all kinds of countries to watch various matches. There's 4 of them in Seattle itself, and then others in the burbs. It is, I mean, I think it's going to be really fun. I'm going to withhold judgment. I'm disappointed in anything that is run by FIFA, but I'm not actually disappointed in what actually happens on the field. That should be as spectacular as it always is. And, and I've got the teams I'm rooting for, including the United States. So I'm looking forward to it. Being in a town where a World Cup is happening is kind of a unique thing. It's the second time I've been in a state where there are World Cup games happening. And I know that when I was in the Bay Area and when in the 94 World Cup, where the U.S. actually did fairly well in that World Cup, if you're familiar with the Bay Area, it's really kind of become a ritzy town now. It was always a nice upper middle class town, sort of a Bellevue grade, but it's become, because of all the Silicon Valley money, it's become a very ritzy town. Los Gatos and Los Gatos Hills above Los Gatos. I think it was Los Gatos, and I think it may be Saratoga as well. The Brazilians were playing in the Bay Area a couple of games, and they arrived in mass. And if you want to transform your town to the better, Brazilians. Like it became, those are kind of sleepy, kind of stodgy little, wealthy towns. Add some Brazilian. And suddenly the towns are fun and the music is better and the dancing is better. Like everything about those areas, like when you'd walk into a restaurant, you'd walk into a bar, became immediately fun. And that was that sort of cultural experience, aside from the soccer, is really what World Cup at its best, because you get a chance to meet and hang out with people from all over the planet who are maybe passionate about the same thing you are, but in a very different way and come from a very different background. My hope but that was also when the World Cup was more broadly affordable. My hope is this didn't just become a corporate, like the way regular people don't go to the Super Bowl. It's just filled with people who are paid to be there and sponsors and whatnot.
But that's where the community involvement becomes our way in.
Yeah.
To this cultural experience. This maybe once in a lifetime. So it's incredible that you got to do it before, and maybe you get a chance to do it again.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to wait and bide my time, like I just suggested, and see if I can scoop up a cheap ticket to. It'd be nice to go. None of the U.S. men's team games are going to be cheap. The U.S. Australia
the one
coming
Seattle
up
game is the top.
Yeah, that's going to be that's going to be a tough one to get into unless you just want to fork out the money to do it. But a lot of the other games that are going to be interesting are absolutely. Not absolutely. Maybe going to move into the affordable area, depending on what you consider affordable. But I do think that it's a great event. It's a shame about the organization running, and it's a shame about the fact that it is by far the biggest sport on the planet, and it's a sport that actually that all income levels participate in great numbers. Right? It's not a sport this is no criticism of, say, golf or hockey. But there's gear.
There's a financial barrier to play.
There's a financial barrier to being able to grow up doing this.
Absolutely.
And there's not really to soccer, because all you need is two people and one ball. You can make a goal out of anything. And that's why it is so massively popular, and why you have kids at every income level and adults at every income level playing this thing all over the planet. That's what makes this event. That's the good side of it, and we've already, sort of teased apart the downside of it. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that it's going to end up being something that Seattle wants more of, not less of, by the time it's over.
Well, it's a chance for the city to show itself off.
Totally.
To how many? 600,000 visitors, 500,000, whatever it is.
Whatever it turns out to be.
So I'm all for, sweep Pioneer Square if you have to, paint over the graffiti, companies coming over.
It'll be interesting if someone out there, intrepid person out there, decides to compare city's tourism revenue this year compared to last year, and see if there really is that much money that came into town.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there is. I'm hoping that the people who hope to make money on this make every dime they can, other than, say, FIFA. All right, Nate. We just talked about potential 600,000 people coming into town. My guess is there's probably that many people on small stretches of I-5 right now.
It sure seems like it, man. Linwood to Seattle, though, we have improved. Still a 40-minute drive after clearing our collision near Mercer. We're still dealing with a backup starting near 130th and Northgate in the downtown. 45 minutes through downtown on North 5. It's thick at the Michigan Curve across the Ship Canal Bridge. This backup really hasn't budged in the past hour plus. Southbound 99, bumper to bumper from the zoo to the stadiums. Northbound 99, we're packed from Soto up to South Lake Union. Crossing the lake, 35-minute trip on 520 from Bellevue to Seattle. Your bumper to bumper from 84th to I-5. It's a half hour on I-90 with stop-and-go volumes from Highland Crest Way to I-5. Bellevue to Everett, still about an hour, 5 minutes. We're slow from Bellevue all the way to the Alderwood interchange. Seattle to Everett, 55 minutes. You're slow from Northgate through Linwood. And Tacoma to Olympia, we're still hovering at an hour commute. 4 Mile, thick backup through JBLM, and then a 3-mile backup between Lacey and Olympia. Download the Seattle Sports app to stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards. Breaking news coverage, best newscast, excellence in writing, investigative reporting, sports reporting, hard news. Capped with a prestigious prize for overall excellence. And we thank you, our audience across the Pacific Northwest. You are the reason we strive to be the Northwest's trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Let's talk about your hair. Well, maybe after we talk about my hair. I've got great hair, as you know, and it's because of Advanced Hair. Yep, Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it most, and bam, it grows. It's actual science. Advanced Hair has top-rated physicians, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins to regrow the very next day. It's even guaranteed to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now at 425-449-8185. Mention Curly to qualify for $250 off and $250 free hair grafts. It's a limited time offer. Advanced Hair, the winner of the 425 Business of the Year, and the team that gave me my hair back. More importantly, they'll do the same for you, guaranteed. 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
Olympic Hot Tub has more ways than ever to achieve total wellness at home. Immerse yourself in a saltwater hot spring spa and let jets melt stress away. Enjoy a refreshing swim in an endless pool swim spa. Retreat to healing warmth and detox in a Tilo sauna. Then awaken mind and body with a cold plunge. You'll be saying, ah, in no time. Your path to wellness starts today at Olympic Hot Tub. Current specials with exciting savings at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Welcome to this week's Puget Sound Express Whale Report. According to naturalists from Puget Sound Express, Biggs orcas and humpback whales are the story this week. The T65A family of Biggs orcas are hunting seals, sea lions, and porpoises. From Hood Canal to Port Orchard to the Strait of Juan de Fuca, this family seems to be everywhere. Migrating humpbacks are in the area as well, with Orion and Graphite wowing guests on recent tours with breaches and tail lobbing. Family-run Puget Sound Express offers half-day and full-day guaranteed whale-watching tours departing from Edmonds. These tours are Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Their new full-day tour includes a 2-hour stop on San Juan Island. Orcas, humpbacks, gray whales, minke whales, and so much more. Don't miss out on your chance to see whales in the wild. Family-run Puget Sound Express guarantees you'll see whales or your next trip is absolutely free. Book online at PugetSoundExpress.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Summer's supposed to be fun. When the kids are home all day, the groceries, they add up fast. G. Scott here with a quick heads up from Safeway. There's a program called Sunbucks that gives qualifying families $120 per child for summer groceries. Some families are signed up automatically and will get a card in the mail. Others need to apply. Take a minute to check. It could really help put food on the table for your family. Head to freesummermeals.org to find out more. That's freesummermeals.org.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers with back taxes owed to the IRS. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, you may now be eligible for relief through current IRS initiatives for struggling taxpayers. In some cases, taxpayers may qualify to reduce as much as 99% of what they owe. You may already be experiencing wage garnishment, liens, levies, or audits and be unaware of this important information. Call Guardian Tax now to see what relief you may be eligible for at 800-404-7986. By taking action today, you may be able to stop all collections and resolve your tax problem before your tax problem gets worse. Tax experts are standing by to review your case and fight to slash your debt dramatically. Don't let your tax problem get worse and miss this time-sensitive opportunity. Check your eligibility with Guardian Tax now. Call 800-404-7986. 800-404-7986. That's 800-404-7986.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Hey, good evening. I'm Aaron Granillo. Seattle's mayor says she is not backing down on her decision to keep those surveillance cameras off in the stadium districts during the World Cup unless there's a credible threat. KIRO News Radio's Corbin Hake reports she addressed the issue at a City Club event last night.
Mayor Katie Wilson says an expansion of surveillance cameras represents a threat to civil liberties.
Serious concerns brought to us by immigrants' rights groups, by civil liberties groups, right, around our data security sharing practices, the fear that this data could be misused.
But members of the City Council say a delay in activating those cams subverts public safety measures the council has already passed.
I think the mayor is subverting the will of City Council. It makes us more vulnerable.
Councilmember Rob Saka, KIRO TV reports, with the cameras inactive, Seattle would be this year's only World Cup host city without them. Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Seattle has reached a $2.6 million settlement with 4 female police officers over harassment and discrimination claims. Seattle attorney Sumir Singla represents those 4 women who filed this suit back in 2024. He spoke with John Curley this past March.
Some of the higher-ups changed, but the people who were still involved in discriminating and retaliating against our clients are still there. So they, from time to time, still face it.
In a statement, the city attorney's office says, in part, the settlement does not reflect an admission of wrongdoing or unlawful conduct by any of the named individuals. Gas prices have gone up and back down this week. Patrick DeHaan with Gas Buddy says it's hard to say where the market's headed with the Strait of Hormuz still closed.
And it's just been 94 days of frustration watching this really kind of slow motion degradation of the economy.
Average prices for a gallon are down 2 cents overnight to $5.65 statewide, closer to $6 though in the greater Seattle area. And a big win for a Seattle student. Lakeside senior Camara Johnson has taken top honors in Doodle for Google. Her piece, inspired by the theme My Superpower Is, highlights hair as culture and legacy.
Black hair defies gravity and it defies logic.
Her doodle is up right now on Google until 9:59 tonight. She gets $55,000 in scholarships. Her school also gets $50,000 in a technology package. Now to the real-time traffic desk. We check in with Nate Connors.
And this is brought to you by Carpet Liquidators. Linwood to Seattle's are improved again since our last report. We're down to 35 minutes. Still a solid backup from 130th and Northgate down to I-90. 45 minutes through downtown Seattle on North 5. Your backups start at the Michigan Curve. Southbound 99, bumper to bumper from the zoo down to the stadiums. And northbound 99, heavy from Soto. We're starting near the West Seattle Bridge, really, all the way to South Lake Union. Bellevue to Everett, plan on an hour. We're slow from Bellevue to the Alderwood interchange. Seattle to Everett down to 50 minutes. It's slow from Northgate through Linwood. Seattle to Federal Way is down to just 25 minutes, just a few slowdowns between 405 and 516. It's once you get into Federal Way where it gets pretty crowded from South 288th all the way down to the Tacoma Dome, but you're close to freeway speed, so Federal Way to Tacoma, 25 minutes. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway at 35 minutes, and we're still bumper to bumper from State Route 18 into Puyallup. YPay Retail, save big with the largest carpet and hardwood flooring selection at Carpet Liquidators. 7 locations, they got you covered at Carpet Liquidators. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
To the forecast now, pretty good tonight. Mostly cloudy skies. Come tomorrow, we cool down. Highs in the low 60s. Showers at night. Showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. Right now, 67 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
This hour of the John Curley Show brought to you by Wilcox Family Farm Eggs.
Welcome back to the show. Mike Lewis here. Spike O'Neill here. Nick on traffic. Sorry about that, Nate. You know why I called you Nick is because I was reading a profile of Nick Bilton, the new head of CBS. I didn't know much about him, and the more I know, the less I like. But Nate's on the other hand, I like.
Appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
I like Nate's a lot. I don't like Nick's, as it turns out. So there you go.
Nigel, you're the best in there.
You are the best.
Ned.
All right. So the University of Washington.
Thanks,
You betcha, brother.
The University of Washington is studying whether the drugs like Ozempic, GLP-1 drugs, can be used not just to treat treat your weight, your cravings, for food. Which has also led to it's a preferred method to help control certainly pre-diabetic and even diabetes. But also it looks like it has a capacity. And this has been, the funny thing is that there have been people talking about this since the very beginning, that they noticed, people who are on this drug, they noticed that their cravings for alcohol and sometimes other actually illicit drugs diminished as well when they were on these drugs. And now the University of Washington is involved in a fairly broad study to find out whether or not this drug, which inhibits your brain response to the reward response for
cravings,
the
right?
cravings, right?
Shuts off cravings, yeah.
It inhibits that, and that is what allows people to essentially they eat less because they don't feel like they need to eat more, and that actually it inhibits their desire to like the people who, especially people who have problems with like stress eating or using, it curbs that voice. It sort of silences that to some degree, and they're going to actually study and see if this is more broadly applicable for folks who are trying to maintain either sobriety or to just cut their drinking way down, and that it may actually have benefits. And so now, after a lot of sort of anecdotal evidence that this appears to be true, the University of Washington is now involved in a sizable study to find out, all right, let's just put some actual science behind this and decide whether or not this really is a thing.
I think it's an absolute thing. I mean, take it from a fat guy who's addicted to food. Here's the issue with food. Food is the solution to all of our problems. And it's the answer to every question we have. You want to celebrate? Food.
Right.
You're depressed? Food. Having a wake? Food. Birth? Food.
Right.
Everything's food in this country. And that's not our own, it's not completely our fault. A lot of it is how we're marketed to. Everything we do and everything we look at is marketing to us. And that's what addiction is. So if fat guys aren't hungry, they're food addicts. I know. And I've been on these drugs. When my daughter got married a year ago, I stepped into about 4 months of GLP-1s and dropped about 30 pounds before a wedding, over about 4 months. And it worked. And I can tell you that it wasn't that I wasn't hungry. I ate when I was hungry,
right.
But it didn't have every thought of my head turning to food 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times a day.
Right.
It shut off those receptors in my brain. And there's been talk for quite a while that what it does is shut off your brain, telling you need this hit, this dopamine hit. It's absolutely going to be the cure for addiction in this country. What we don't know is what the long-term effects of leaving this drug.
Right.
Those concerns are also being addressed and studied right now. People who get on the medication and then get off the medication, as with all diets, you yo-yo.
Yeah.
But there may be other brain chemistry effects of leaving this medication after prolonged use for addicts. So they're studying that as well. But this is going to work for addicts, and we've never been able to find the brain chemical solution to addiction.
Right.
It's always been behavioral control is how you deal with. And if they figure this out, if they get the medical studies done, if they address the concerns on the back end of leaving this medication, or if they find a way to make this medication a permanent solution to addiction, the world's your oyster.
That's interesting because one of the podcasts I used to listen to all the time is a podcast called Pivot. It's Kara Swisher, longtime tech journalist, OG tech journalist.
She's brilliant.
And a guy named Scott Galloway, who's a professor at NYU.
Loves
and Scott has opined that that he argued a year ago that the GPL-1 drugs, the whole body of them, from Ozempic to the other. There's all kinds. There's multiple brand names of this, and now it's finally moved from something that's injected into a pill form, which apparently has passed FDA muster. He argued that this is a bigger game changer than AI.
Really?
If you look at the level of diabetes in the United States and you look at the level worldwide, he makes a fairly coherent argument that this could be. Now, part of what he would need, I think, to be probably dead to rights on this is for it to become part of what Medicare and Medicaid can provide. Because if it's getting, other than not just for pre-diabetic. So if you have, or type 2, if you have type 2 diabetes, you can get this as part of it. You cannot get it if you're, and if you can, I think in some cases, if you're pre-diabetic, I think in most cases, if your doctor just says, hey, you've got bad health indicators, but you're not yet pre-diabetic, you're essentially having to pay for it yourself. And initially, my understanding is, I don't know what it was, $1,000, better than $1,000 bucks.
$1,400 a month.
Right.
Right.
Out of pocket.
Yeah.
When that moved to, now I think the manufacturing is up high enough now that it has moved into being more cheap. And my hope is that when it moves into being covered sort of because it is, if you can prevent these other things, and another study that, let's just sort of rope this one into the overall conversation, it also looks like it's having some effect on developments of certain forms of cancer. Now, again, these are all preliminary studies. And so, and as we were once told, by a very smart British nonfiction writer back in the day, said just anytime you read a story in any form of media, any medical study story, add 2 words to the headline: in mice. Because you read the story, because you read seems to prevent cancer, and then you realize, this test on mice. Now, testing on mice does have a lot of medical value.
Right.
But nonetheless, they are physiologically different, and some things that test well there don't test, so well in humans later on, or don't have the same effect. But the preliminary studies look like it also has an effect on the formation of certain types of cancers. And if you look at all of this, I've argued for years that if we could, all of the health problems that the world deals with, one of the biggest ones is simply diabetes. Like something that we know very, very well. We kind of know how to prevent at least certain types of diabetes, yet we consume, and it's such a problem in the United States because we eat so much processed food. We do so much stuff that really is damaging to us, willfully damaging to us. Not forced to. I think that if we could get this incorporated more into, a healthier lifestyle perhaps, but at least into an optional treatment you can get through your insurance without needing some sort of serious diagnoses before that happens, it becomes like Scott's argument. It becomes this thing of like the millions of people who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. If you can start narrowing that down, the cost to the infrastructure of medicine is astounding, right? And the expense of insulin supplies and the ability to tap those at a lesser, all of it feels at times, and we all know I don't know how much trust is out there with the pharmaceutical industry. Probably not very much.
Very lightly.
And the folks who are making money on this are also probably making money on insulin. I get that. Whichever way we go with our health, they're going to make some money on us. But I'd at least rather they make money on the healthy side of us than on the unhealthy.
Your point about it being covered by insurance makes so much sense. Why wait till someone is diabetic or pre-diabetic before giving them a drug that can help cure their obesity?
We talk about heart health, all of this stuff regarding crime, like engage early, mental health, engage early. Why we don't decide to do that in medicine, I don't know. But it seems to me like that does make some sense, and it's good to see that the University of Washington once again is front and center on that sort of research. Nate Connors, how are we looking?
We're improving with every report. That's the good news. This report brought to you by Harborstone Credit Union. Up in Everett, though, we do have a new crash. It's South 5 right at 526. It's blocking 2 left lanes, including the HOV lane, and we're backed up to Lowell Road. That's a thick backup right there. Linwood to Seattle, 35 minutes. We've got scattered backups from Northgate down to I-90. 45 minutes gets you through downtown Seattle on North 5. Still pretty heavy between the Michigan Curve and Ship Canal Bridge. 99 is still struggling through Seattle. Southbound is packed from the zoo to the stadiums. Northbound, you're heavy from Soto to South Lake Union. Bellevue to Everett, an hour. Seattle to Everett, 50 minutes. And South Tacoma, we've got a new crash. South 5 just past 84th. It's blocking your left lane. Tacoma to Olympia, we've improved a few minutes. We're down to 50 minutes. Still got about a 4-mile hefty backup through JBLM. Earn up to $30 per month just for using your Harborstone PMW Cashback debit card. Open your free checking account online today at harborstone.com/cash. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, winner of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including overall excellence and investigative reporting.
Just 29 hours later, Joshua Headley sent an unsolicited email to me writing, "I understand there may be a news story coming out."
Thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio. 97.3 FM.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June, for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Seattle is offering a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. It checks your testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidney, liver, thyroid, and heart health. No guessing, just answers. Over 100,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Take control and protect your long-term health by knowing your numbers. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Feel better. Live stronger. Start now.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
Do you get sinus infections, congestion, sinus pressure and pain, sinus headaches? You've gone to the doctor. You visit urgent care over and over again. And it's always the same thing, right? Oh, I know. Let's try antibiotics and some nasal sprays. But they just keep coming back. You may suffer with chronic sinus infections. The good news? Relief is possible. How? A minimally invasive procedure called the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic. Imagine a procedure so delicate there are no narcotics. Less cutting means less bleeding, so no packing, and no operating room. The Sinusoft procedure is designed for the clinic. If you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, and congestion, find out if the Sinusoft procedure, available only at the Modern Nose Clinic, is the solution for you. Call and set an appointment today. 206-388-2770. 206-388-2770. That's 206-388-2770.
There is nothing so special as June in a Northwest garden. Hi, I'm Gina at Sky Nursery. I have been a huge gardener since my now adult kids were shorter than my lavender. This time of year, I like to be out in the garden checking on things, enjoying the afternoon golden hour. If you still have room for new plants, it's a great time to get them in the ground before the summer heat. Explore Sky's colorful tapestry of trees and shrubs, veggies and herbs, fountains, hanging baskets, and more. Sky Nursery, the gardener's garden store. Learn more at skynursery.com.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Whatever the heat index, stay cool this summer. Your local Bryant dealer can make sure your system is up to the task. Whether it's maintaining your current system or installing an energy-efficient Bryant Evolution cooling system with perfect Humidity Plus technology, your dealer will give you what you need to help your family beat the heat. Learn more and schedule an appointment with a factory-authorized dealer today at BryantNorthwest.com. That's BryantNorthwest.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Jazz Alley invites you to experience the Brubeck Brothers Quartet, carrying forward a legendary jazz legacy with fresh energy and swing. Shows run June 2nd and 3rd. Tickets at jazzalley.com. Next up, Marcus Miller.
The John Curley Show mailbag is brought to you by Advanced Hair Restoration.
Welcome back to the John Curley Show. This is the segment where we turn the show over to all of you.
Let the inmates run the asylum. We're sure this is a good idea.
Well, yeah, we're started right there in with the inmates in this one. All right. You want me to start or do you want to start?
Stan in Linwood says, Mike and Spike, great team. Many thanks.
Jason in Snoqualmie. Spike, no need to apologize for staying on for John's show. I see it as a bonus. I thoroughly enjoy listening to you. Cheers.
Oh, thanks, Jason. That's really sweet of you. Todd Needham Club, best day in a long time on KIRO. Yes, I would love to listen to you for 3 hours more, Spike. Oh, my God, who are these people? I started listening to you with Bob Rivers back in Seattle when I came in the early 90s. Bob Rivers was a treasure. I couldn't agree with you more, Todd. Thank you. It's a sweet thing to say.
On data centers and AI, Elliot from Around the Bay. Hate to say that Elon has a good idea, but his proposal to park data centers in space makes a lot of sense. Solar arrays could power them, and no need for cooling. The need for cooling would be greatly diminished.
That's a great idea.
It is a good idea. Elon Musk did say that, and it is actually a very good idea.
Even a stop clock twice a day. 253 says, do you guys think AI will eliminate movie actors and actresses?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I think on a lot of low-grade stuff, it absolutely will.
I'm already seeing it. My social media feeds are flooded with AI-generated ads. These are not real people.
Yeah. And to
the B actors of the world, your days are numbered.
And the people who make their side money on commercials, some people make a lot of money on commercials. I think you're entirely correct about that. That's a good point. From the 360, how about this idea for data centers? Part of the permit approval process is they need to pay for solar system panel grants for local residents to install in their houses to offset the electrical use and thus reduce the bills for residents. I was just saying that off air, that what should be is actually an offset. If you can free up that space, you can build your data center.
Hey, man, put solar panels on my roof. You can have all the power the city was selling me. Go ahead. I love that idea. 206 says, why doesn't the state charge double for the data centers to give relief to homeowners?
All right, on the UFC fight at the White House, John in 573. Gladiator fights used to be held for all kinds of celebrations. Same with knights and tournaments.
And then we evolved as a species.
Wow.
Hee-haw Aaron says, congratulations, Spike. You are now officially the get off my lawn guy.
From Vincent Rochester. Joe Rogan is one of the announcers and even he thinks this is a dumb idea, but heck, I'll be watching it.
Okay. CBS in Chaos, Bruce in Capitol Hill. I think it was a frog. I think it was a frog that the scorpion hitched a ride on, not a snake.
Actually, you look it up. You can find like 15 versions, different animals, always some animal that is just disrespected as being, unable to defend itself against its own nature. From Andrea in Lake Taps. Barry Weiss and her buddies showed poor leadership ability. They did not manage that meeting with the level of leadership. Definitely did not read the room. CBS is garbage now.
To your point, man, what did they think they were going to get? A scorpion?
Who knows?
Come on, man. 253 says, you actually think for 1 second that CBS used to be unbiased and strictly factual news, not favoring one party over the other? Now you're sounding delusional. That was for me.
On Jesus in Kansas, I didn't know he was there. It's just say the important part, they are turning it into another propaganda arm.
World Cup and camera debate. 425 says, phones record everything already. Phone can give you location, but not the kind of surveillance and facial identification data that these camera systems can give us. Am I right or am I wrong?
You are right.
And now it is time for the letter of the day.
From Bubba in the 360. Science fiction offers two versions of AI. One from Star Trek universe where the AI helps humanity travel through the stars. The other is from Skynet version that destroys humanity. The bigger question is, which AI are we building?
We don't know.
We don't know.
If I were a betting man, I'm betting on Skynet.
That's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. Didn't write no more. Didn't write no more. She left the gloom hanging round my front door.
All right, Nate. What do we got?
All right, we're slowly winding down out there. Everett, we still have this collision South 5 at 526, taking up two left lanes. That backup now stretches back to Broadway. Linwood to Seattle, 35 minutes. We're still pretty solid from 130th and Northgate to I-90. 45 minutes through downtown Seattle on North 5. Your backups start at the Michigan Curve. Bellevue to Everett, 50 minutes slow from Kirkland to Canyon Park. Seattle to Everett, though, looking really good at 35 minutes. Still looking at scattered slowing between Northgate and Linwood. Bellevue to Renton at 40 minutes. We're still struggling from really Northeast 60th and Kirkland down to Cold Creek Parkway. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway down to a 35-minute trip. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio is honored to be the recipient of 7 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence and Excellence in Writing.
We can't let hatred become the air we breathe. It poisons us all. Our strength is in unity.
We thank you who listen, stream, and watch every day. The driving force that pushes us to be the Northwest trusted news source. KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM.
Olympic Hot Tub has terrific ways to achieve total wellness at home. Saltwater hot tubs, swim spas, saunas, and cold plunges, all waiting for you. See our current specials with exciting savings at olympichottub.com. Better you, better life.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nia Hergaris with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. As parents, we want our children to grow up healthy and strong. That means helping teens take responsibility for their health as they become young adults. One way to do that is to make sure they have one-on-one time with their pediatrician. That helps them become comfortable talking about any health issue with their doctors and with you. So make sure to give your teen a voice. It's good for their health. For more on teen health, visit healthychildren.org.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Hey, it's Jason Rance here again with Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. Greg, there are some folks getting CP 504 notices. This is not something that should be ignored. You need a professional.
When you receive a CP 504 notice, alarm bells need to go off. And as much as you just want to push that envelope aside, because they know it's not going to be good. And it's not a very good notice to get because it means the IRS is really coming down on you hard. Get help right away. Call somebody that knows what they're doing and get some assistance.
How have you helped?
We help them by understanding exactly where they're at. We interview them, we talk with them, find out. We'd like to know, how did you get here? And then we make a plan whereby we do our level best to help people with this struggle they are having now with their taxes.
Judgment-free.
Judgment-free.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, call Greg Nunn with None Better Tax Resolution, 425-947-1967, or Google NUNN, None Better Tax Resolution.
KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Your local volunteer fire department routinely answers the call, whether it be a fire, traffic accident, or a cat stuck in a tree. But because of declines in memberships, departments have become understaffed. Your local volunteer fire department desperately needs you. Can you direct traffic, install a smoke alarm, help at a fundraiser? No matter what skills you have, you can make a difference. You don't have to fight fire to be a volunteer. Will you answer the call? For more information on how you can help, visit the Volunteer Firefighter Alliance at supportvfa.org.
Best Mortgage is proud to be the longest-running mortgage company on KIRO Radio.